YouTube fan, what's going on, man? We back in the building. Y'all know what it is. You know exactly what this is. Double tap that screen when y'all coming to the live, man. Double tap that screen. Smash that like button. Let's get down to the business. What the hell is going on? Double tap that screen, though, y'all. Double tap that screen when y'all coming to the live, man. Y'all know what this is. Smash the like button. And ultimately subscribe to the channel, man. We got a lot going on. And this is a great place for those who want to express themselves, voice your opinion, and not be blocked for expressing how you feel. But right now, I need you to double tap that screen. It's on again. And right now we are talking about Trump's America. Smash that like button when you get up in here. So, let me get my moderators up in here, man. I got to get my mods in here. Smash that like button. Let me know what city and state y'all tapping in from. And let me know what's your gas prices. I need to know your gas prices. Smash that like button. Let me get something up on this screen, man. Y'all, Andrew Tate just got his dumb ass locked up. If you don't know, Andrew Tate just got his ass locked up. He's a big-time MAGA supporter. And it is just crazy to me how MAGA has been getting their asses locked up. MAGA has been getting locked up on the daily. We got Mitch McConnell dying. We got crybaby Trump. Let me go ahead and get this out here. And we're going to go to YouTube real quick. Let's get to secular talk. Let's check out Andrew Tate, Goofy, off the top.
In Conflict of Nations, you can build an army, battle other players, create alliances, and even drop
Double
a
tap
nuke.
that
Just
screen,
tap
y'all.
below and download now.
808s knocking like the speakers in the Wraith. All gas, no brakes. I was born to take the throne from the park.
Actual bodily harm, 19 additional charges for offenses relating to indecent images of a child and extreme pornography. Uh-oh. That's a lot of charges. And my guess is they wouldn't have got to this point where they're being arrested by U.S. Marshals and extradited unless they really, really got the goods. Now, let's remember, the reason these guys are even in the United States to begin with is because the Trump regime allowed them to be. The Trump regime gave them special treatment and allowed them in, despite the fact they were facing different charges in another country. So, game recognized game, pedo recognized pedo. We're talking about the Epstein criminals and the Tate criminals all like looking out for each other. It's like there's some fredophile radar that they all have, that they send out the fucking bat signal, and they're like, look, I'll protect you if you protect me. And that's exactly what was going on. The guy who's mentioned in the Epstein files more than anybody else on Earth, over 1 million times, is also protecting basically the modern day Jeffrey Epstein, Andrew Tate, okay? All right, so let me give you some more here. Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate have been arrested in Miami by U.S. Marshal Service. Statement below from the UK's Crown Prosecution Service about additional charges being filed against the brothers. The Tate brothers are facing a total of 59 charges, 42 against Andrew Tate and 17 against Tristan Tate. So here is the video of them getting arrested. Let's watch.
Mr. Tate, would you mind signing?
Hey, take.
Come back. Oh, shit. Come over here, buddy.
Now, by the way, I don't know if you saw it here, but there's one point where he's trying to, like, slip his cell phone to his bodyguard, and I don't think his bodyguard recognizes. But that's not a great indicator of what's on that phone now, is it? It's pretty big red flag. Also, people are mocking the shit out of his outfit. The fact that this guy is viewed in some circles as like the prime alpha male, and he's dressed like your Aunt Trudy. Like, what the fuck is this fit? Jesus Christ, you just ruined capris for everybody, okay? What the fuck are those loafers you're wearing? And, God, I mean, I don't know, it's just, I would say it's the gayest shirt I've ever seen, except that's completely and utterly unfair to gay people who usually have phenomenal style, okay? Like, this is not good. This is not good, homie. What's that guy doing? Trying to take off his chains?
Go. Guys, back up.
Now, let's remember, the Trump regime cannot pardon him for UK crimes. They also, by the way, wouldn't be able to pardon him if it was state crimes. Okay? Because state crimes, you can't get a presidential pardon for state crimes. The president can only pardon federal crimes. Now, this isn't state charges, but he also can't pardon UK charges. It's kind of crazy we even have to talk about, like, hey, maybe our pedophile president will pardon this other pedophile. It's kind of insane that the first thing everybody thinks is, oh, yeah, he's got the pay-to-play scheme set up where you go to Mar-a-Lago, you give him $1 million, he'll pardon whoever the fuck you want. He's pardoned, like, billions of dollars worth of fraudsters who are just out there scamming people again. You know, he's considering pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell. Diddy's probably on that list, right? A lot of people are looking like, damn, why does he keep pardoning these weird rapper people? Because they're paying him for the pardon. So, like, you know, that's the first thing you think of is, oh, this guy's going to get out of it because he's rich and because he's famous and because he knows how to play the game. But not now, because it's going to the UK.
You know this corner, please? Are you able to pull it up since the left? You got it.
But real shit, let's really ask ourselves the question, why does our president keep on pardoning all these goddamn pedophiles? If that's weird to you, smash that like button, double tap that screen. We're getting to the bottom of this shit. We want to uncover all the bullshit that they cover up. Subscribe.
Yeah, bro.
What the hell is going on? Where all these goddamn conservatives being fucking weirdos with children? What's going on?
Bro is cooked. There are endless videos of Tristan and Andrew Tate talking about beating, choking, raping, and controlling women, and yet the vice president, J.D. Vance, follows them. Of course he does. What is wrong with you, J.D. Vance? All right, so here's just one example. Prepare yourself. Here we go.
Am I a bad person? Because the more you didn't like it, the more I enjoyed it. I loved how much you hated it. Turned me on. Why am I like that? Why?
Whilst we were having sex, he put his hand on my throat and strangled me until I lost consciousness. But he was still having sex with me when I kind of came back around again.
I am one of the most dangerous men on this planet. Sometimes you forget exactly how lucky you were to get by me. Would you rather me pin you down?
See, this is more of that Chud the Builder shit right here. Where a motherfucker is sitting here telling on himself, creating the crimes, creating the narrative, documenting the shit, and then when they come and lock your ass up, you talking about, what's going on? Y'all see how fucking surprised he looked when they walked up on his silly ass?
Make you do things you didn't like, or would you rather You didn't like that I was thinking I can do whatever I want to. That's what it is. I'm the smartest person on this planet.
And then the next day, one of the whites of my eyes had gone completely red. Apparently, that's kind of common in domestic abuse cases where there's a lack of oxygen in your brain.
Oh.
So your blood vessels like start bursting to kind of try and get the oxygen there.
Are you seriously so offended I strangled you a little bit? You didn't pass out?
But he kind of kept saying...
It says on this...
See, folks, this right here is the nature of MAGA. This right here is the nature of your good American patriots, y'all. This is it. We've been watching a concentration of bullshit like this since Trump been in office. And now we're highlighting it on y'all asses.
Y'all, I love graping you and watching you let me while still debating if it's a good idea or not. Bro literally said, I love graping you on a text message. That's what we call in the business an open and shut case, y'all. That's what that is. Like, are you trying to get caught? What the fuck is this? What is this?
I own you, you belong to me, like threatening to kill me.
Chill the out. Jesus Christ, I thought you were cool.
Jesus, man, this is dark. All right, here's another one. Shout out to the Milk Bar TV, this guy Nathan Livingstone. He's documented a whole bunch of the stuff that Andrew Tate has said. And yet again, I mean, we're at the point where, like, you should be able to just play the stuff Andrew Tate has said himself on video, and that should be enough for a conviction in a world that made sense, okay?
See, these dudes that's so arrogant, think they're so fucking smart. You heard him say he's the smartest man on the planet. Motherfucker, you are stupid.
Don't take my word for it. You're about to see for yourself. Nobody has told on themselves more than this man. Here we go.
I was all about trying to get paid. Like, I used sex as a tool to make women love me so they'd obey me and live in my house and make me money. That's what I wanted. So I was a pimp in that sense.
Being kickboxer, yeah. Playboy, pimp.
I'm happy with those labels so far. But the majority of my money wasn't made in fighting. My money was actually made in the pimp game. We need to understand some basic concepts to the pimp game. Basic concepts to the reality.
Let me just point out real quick also, I've never seen a beard do such heavy lifting as with Andrew Tate. This man has a negative chin. There's no chin there. He is the chinless wonder. But just a little bit of facial hair goes a long fucking way. By the way, I know. Glass house, I know. However, like, I mean, it is true. This man is the chinless wonder, and a little bit of facial hair makes up for a lot.
Realities between men and women. Women need a man to do OnlyFans. It's the same reason a woman need a man to do anything, because they're incompetent and they're very, very lazy. And they're stupid. When you're pimping bitches like me, it's a full-time job. So yeah, on CorporateTape.com,
I'm not buying. When you're pimping bitches like me, man, this dude sounds like the most unpimping dude I ever seen in my fucking life. What woman is submitting to this dude that's dressed like a fucking girl?
PhD program, and that is PhD is a pimp and hose degree that I'm.
By the way, and I've showed you this video.
But got so much shit to talk about black people, but your whole fucking game is shit that you heard from rappers and shit. Pimp and hose degree. Come on, man, get the.
Before on the show, we showed it on Crystal Kyle and Friends. He talks about the lover boy method. He did a video where he walked you through exactly how to take advantage of a woman, exploit a woman, effectively make her like your sex slave, pimp her out on OnlyFans, lie to her. He does this whole thing where he talks about how, you know, you control their passwords, you log them in, you log them out, you control the tax forms, and you just steal the majority of their money, and they have no fucking clue. Like, he's openly describing countless crimes. Fraud, for example, comes to mind. And at no point did he think, you know, hey, maybe I shouldn't post this on the internet for various authorities to use against me. And that's exactly what's happening now. It's a miracle it took this long to get to this point.
Smash that like button, y'all. Double tap that screen. And please subscribe to the channel. We do this multiple times a day, every day. Let's get to it.
Oh, by the way, this girl right here, there's speculation that she's one of the key witnesses in this case. This girl that you're seeing on screen right now with the blonde hair.
Welcome to the Tate PhD course. If you've bought this course, which you obviously have, congratulations, you're going to change your life for the better. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm fucking certified. I know I don't look like a pimp right now.
Clever.
That teaches basically how I got girls, how I met girls, how I got girls to like me, how I got girls to fall in love with me to work on webcam for me. If you're on dates and you're trying to mention it and shit.
This is the video right here. This video right here, he explained.
Y'all, have y'all ever seen anything as dumb as this shit is right here? Now, I'm going to put up a poll. I want y'all to respond to this poll.
Like step by step. Hey, here's one crime I'm committing. Here's another crime I'm committing. Here's how you can also commit these same crimes. By the way, I should also point out, it is a fucking crime that this guy, in any circles, became like, you know, a celebrity and somebody to look up to and some, like, representative of traditional masculinity. Like, are you fucking kidding me? He's like a caricature of, like, the 1982 macho man prick who's just like a raging misogynist and criminal. And, like, the fact that he got, you know, 13-year-old boys across this country to purchase his courses and to look up to him and to, you know, say the most raging sexist shit imaginable, like, in school to their little girl counterparts, that's fucking disgusting, bro. Like, we have failed as a nation that this man, you know, was able to get any amount of notoriety for any extended period of time. I mean, that's embarrassing. Like, how have the parents failed miserably? How has the broader society and culture failed miserably? And all these guys, by the way, these like 12-year-old boys, 13-year-old boys who pay for the courses and shit, these are guys who should be fucking worshiping women, because we all know the only person who gives a fuck about these little fucking snot-nosed bastards is their mothers, who, you know, make their fucking chicken nuggies for them, make their bed for them, make sure that they're not, you know, fucking homeless and destitute. It's a woman who's barely holding together the lives of these 13-year-old snot-nosed bastards who end up going down the Andrew Tate rabbit hole and loving violent, raging, criminal misogynists and acting like they figured out life. Like, are you fucking kidding me? What a sick joke, man.
It just doesn't work. It puts them off. I'd never do that. That's disgusting. I'm not a whore. It's just not gonna work. You continue as normal, no mention of webcam. By taking girls who didn't know how to be effective on webcam, girls who had never done webcam before, girls who didn't have the equipment, didn't have the know-how, didn't have the will, didn't have the premises, didn't have the ability to make money with this exchange.
Yo, smash that like button if you think this dude is a joke, a jerk, and a pedophile that's going to goddamn jail. Smash that like button.
Create a system that allowed me to convince girls to do this. Allowed me to retain 100% control of their income. You start with a girl.
He just says it out loud. I took 100% of their income. I control 100% of their income. Like, oh my God, bro. Oh my God. He's got a list of like dozens of crimes that bro just announced to committing on air.
You download OnlyFans on your phone. You take her ID pictures, her name, everything it takes to verify the account. You verify the account on your phone and you control the account. So you are now in charge of her OnlyFans. I learned every tip and trick it takes to make sure a girl gets paid. I know how to make sure the girl can't run away.
And of course, they don't go out. They're not allowed out. You stay in the house.
Because once you teach a girl how to do this, she has the ability to make unlimited money from home. Why would she still give it to you? Why would she just run off and keep it all for herself?
He's such a sign of the times, isn't he? But like Andrew Tate, Donald Trump, these are like the two key examples, in my opinion, of like the degradation of modern society, right? Trump has ushered in fascism, kakistocracy, postmodern conservatism, and Andrew Tate has ushered in, you know, similarly, this like narcissistic, fake, hyper-masculine, raging, misogynist, patriarchal mindset. So, and this is manifesting in like a group of pathetic people desperately yearning for an objectively worse past as opposed to trying to get to a better future and really like dragging us backwards. It's like, you know how in so many ways we've gotten worse as a country? This is part and parcel of that, right? In the same way that like there aren't really economic prospects for the younger generation to do better than their parents' generation for the first time in U.S. history. This is like the same thing. Like the zombie bad ideas of the past, like the really overt sexism and misogyny, that's now coming back with a vengeance because of cartoon character loser criminals like this idiot.
That's right, lock the door, you knew I was going to beat the out of you. If you behaved, I wouldn't have to hit you, would I? You don't.
Again, fucking admitting to crimes. Oh my God.
You can't stay in there forever.
Bang out the machete, boom in her face, and then grip her up by the neck. Like, shut up, bitch! Her panties get wet. The machete's on the floor, her panties are all wet. And you go, fuck her. That's how it goes. Every real G knows these basic moves. These are the basic moves of pimping.
This is like a lost 12-year-old boy's idea of being a manly man.
That's what I did. That was my MO, was find girls, make them love me, and make them work for me. And that's how I got rich. So that teaches everything I know from start to finish about not only getting girls, not only obtaining them.
How stupid can you be to think that your ass is not going to jail? How fucking dumb can you be? And arrogant. See, in my opinion, MAGA, the whole Trump movement, empower dudes like this to think that they can talk crazy like this on the internet. Now let's see what happens.
But retaining them.
Like, what is this guy doing now? What is this guy who, like, seriously interviewed Andrew Tate and seemingly was asking for advice on how to be a bad boy? What is this guy doing with his life now?
Hours of me explaining everything I know from start to finish from my career as a webcam pimp.
You were the pimp. I was the pimp.
But now we're coming towards the end of Corona. I'm going to keep like 5 or 6 of my main girls.
Hey, don't forget, my girls were making us money too. Don't forget that. I'm just saying.
Let them take full control over their accounts. They will run away. I like to keep the girl's passwords. I log them in and log them out. If you give the girl the password to her account, there's a chance she could run away and try it by herself. I've had that happen. Be in charge of her own phone contact with members who like her.
Okay, so to just get the whole blueprint up, now we know exactly why the feds came to his goddamn address and say, hey, Mr. Tate, can you sign this for me? Hands behind your back. You gotta be smarter than that, sir.
You are setting yourself up to get scammed. All she has to do is type a sort code and account number to a member, and that has happened to me before. I went to the room, smashed the room up, told her I knew what she did. She sent me all the money, but that has happened to me before.
I honestly, it is astonishing that they're even going to bother to try to mount a defense. It really is. Like, dog, you guys are so cooked. It is so over. It is such a mess. By the way, Candace Owens will probably come out there and try to cook up some cockamamie conspiracy as to how Andrew Tate is innocent. It's all going to happen. He already released a video going, they won't even tell me the charges, mate. Like, shut the fuck up. What are you talking about? Just because you're pretending like that's the case doesn't mean we can't fucking look it up and immediately see exactly what the fucking charges are. Bitch, it's right here. 7 counts of rape, 3 counts of arranging or facilitating trafficking for sexual exploitation, 3 counts of 3 counts of assault occasioning actual bodily harm, and 19 additional charges for indecent images of a child and extreme pornography. If anybody keeps falling for...
Wow. So I got to ask this goddamn question. And if you are in the demographic of the sector of people I'm talking about, feel free to goddamn answer. What the fuck is going on? Because I knew this shit was a thing, but not to this magnitude. It's almost like if you just sit back and wait, set a trap for any of these fucking MAGA sycophants, it seems like this is what they do. This is what they're fucking kids, children, wives. They gotta know what the fuck is going on. They have to know. There's no goddamn way all of this kitty corn is going on and nobody fucking knows about it. These little children got mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters. Where's all this shit happening? In the home? Wow, nobody's home? What the fuck is going on? This shit is alarming. It got to be a lot of kids that's not even getting the attention they need when it comes to this type of shit. And they're right in the goddamn houses with the perpetrators. And fucking sick women who are trying their best to keep a fucking man that ain't even paying attention or listening or believing the child. The fuck is going on?
This fucking ruse and this shtick. That's on you, bro. That's on you. I know that we're in an extra conspiratorial moment in U.S. history, but I do feel like something like this has the potential to break the fever, because Occam's razor is definitely the truth here. Occam's razor is that this guy is a fucking degenerate criminal prick, and all that's finally catching up with him.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm.
That's your fucking brother. That's who the fuck that is. You're asking stupid questions. Don't recommend.
Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now.
Hold on, I'll repeat it for the idiots. The Strait of Hormuz has always been open. It's Trump who closed it after his war. It's logical that Iran is defending itself. Smash the like button.
You know you want to.
You gotta pay these bills with these little commercials and shit.
We begin this hour with the...
All right, hold the hell on. That ain't what we doing. Double tap that screen, y'all. Smash that like button. If you just got in the live, let me know what city and state you tapping in from, and what the hell are your gas prices? What are your gas prices? Here we go.
That was Donald Trump getting mercilessly booed at the World Cup finals. Congratulations to Spain, which defeated Argentina 1-0. Of course, Donald Trump picked Argentina to win. The curse continues, but Donald Trump is a walking curse. After Spain won the World Cup, Donald Trump wanted to make it about himself. He stood on the stage with the Spanish team. He refused to get off the stage. The Spain team wanted him gone. Gianni Infantino had to go on the stage and then move him off. I'll talk about that in a second. But Trump was getting mercilessly booed, as you saw there in the first clip. Let me show you as Donald Trump was walking out to try to make the World Cup trophy presentation ceremony about himself. Listen to the boos. Play this clip. Now, the fans were giving Donald
Your time up too, bitch.
Trump the middle finger. They were booing him, and they were giving him red cards for being there. You can see right over here a fan giving Donald Trump a red card. Now, Donald Trump getting booed was captured on the iShowSpeed stream. iShowSpeed apparently thought that there was a fight that was breaking out. Listen for yourself. You can hear what happened, and you can see what happened. Here, play this clip.
Who was fighting after the game? That's Trump? That's the president here. Donald Trump is here.
What's bullshit, Bob? That they booed your president? Or bullshit that I'm replaying that shit?
Look at the Secret Service.
Now, I'm not going to play what happened during the national anthem because that's part of the footage of Fox. So I'm not going to play that. We can just show the screenshots there. But what happened was Donald Trump was getting booed when the camera panned to him after the national anthem. He got mercilessly booed. So then Fox had to cut away to do an overhead shot of MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, where this game was taking place. Now on the iShowSpeed, though, the stream, they were able to capture some of it. Here's the iShowSpeed stream. Here.
He said the boos was very faint. Bullshit! The whole fucking stadium was booing that motherfucker, man. But if that make you sleep better at night, man, and hug your pillow tight, you have that, okay? You have that little lie. Little lies don't hurt. Crossplay. They really hurt you more than they hurt anybody else.
That was great. Jennifer Hudson killed that. No cap. No cap.
Yeah, those boos are faint.
Now, before the game, Donald Trump
shit was
announced
loud.
that he supported Messi and he supported Argentina. So yes, the Trump curse strikes again.
Fuck
Also,
Messi and
Donald Trump
Argentina.
found a way to make this game about himself. Donald Trump said, I've always liked Ronaldo. I've always liked Messi. I met Messi just recently. They have a pretty good life. I think they have a very good life, actually. Much easier than my life, really. I'd like to switch for about a month or so. What a pathetic, vile scumbag he is.
Hey, just because you're goofy, just because you want to stay in denial, listen, have that. I hope it bleeds in your heart. I hope it bleeds in your little weak ass, inferior heart.
Is again just in a real big weirdo. Here he is. You can see the players on Spain. They want him gone. They're like, can you get off the...
How the fuck you gonna get a Trump pardon when you got locked up in another your charges in another country? Shut up. Trump can't even pardon his own dick.
Stage? We're trying to go and get our medals. We don't want you on here. You can literally see the player trying to push him up. Thank you. Get the hell out of here, idiot. Get the hell out of here, fascist. We don't want you. And of course, you know that Donald Trump had previously been mercilessly attacking Spain. Spain has nothing to offer. Get the hell off the stage, fascist. And then you see Gianni Infantino over there with Donald Trump. And Gianni's like, can you get out of there? They're trying to take the picture, Donald. They're trying to take the picture, Donald. Let me show you the hot mic from the Australian coverage where they're like, all right, mate, I think they're going to have to crop out Donald Trump right now. Here, play this clip.
Is now, so they can edit him out of that.
Yeah, so Donald Trump was like pretending he's on the team. I mean, it was a true humiliation ritual. And Gianni Infantino, who's a pathetic creature himself, the head of FIFA, he's like, ha, 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 ha. I've showed you some of the clips of Gianni Infantino and Trump. I don't want to play any of them right now. But it's like two weird fascist Furbies talking to each other. Like, ha, 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 ha. It's like, dude, shut up. Like, just be freaking normal. You can see here another overhead shot of Donald Trump refusing to get off the stage. I think we actually have some overhead footage that I've been seeing circulating of Donald Trump when he was on the stage and refusing to get off the stage with Spain after they won. Here, let's play this clip. And then just to show you this clip, there are clips like this coming in across the world right now. Like this is a group of people watching in Vancouver. This is them reacting to the camera panning to Trump during the final. But there's footage like this throughout the world right now. I'll show you this one. Let's play it. I'll try to show you this. This is a moment Gianni Infantino moved Trump out of the way. You can see for yourself. Play this clip. Now, contrast that to the love.
Yeah, they kicked his ass out.
that President Claudia Sheinbaum received when she was...
Y'all know what they would have did if that was Clinton or Obama? Yeah. Yeah, he wouldn't have got cropped out.
In New York, you can see, and her message was, "Thank you for receiving me with such affection, New York. They are more than reciprocated, hardworking Mexican women and men. All of Mexico loves and admires you." Here, play this clip. I'll show you the pure joy in Madrid. Here are fans in Madrid reacting to the win. Let's play it. Rudy Giuliani.
I hear you, Navia. Word to that.
His weird kid, Andrew Giuliani, who was in charge of the World Cup. Here's the statement that he put out. Thanks to the vision and leadership of President Donald.
Hold up. Master Mechanic said, it's obvious Trump is the most narcissistic and the worst American president ever. Damn, thank you for your comment.
J. Trump. America fell in love with the World Cup, and the world fell in love with the United States of America again. Dude, shut up, you freaking weirdo. Donald Trump. Dude, shut up. As our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, says, all thanks, praise, credit to the Führer, Donald Trump. In fact, nobody ever heard of the World Cup or even football or soccer before Trump put it on the map. And that's why the world loves us again. Amen. Amen. Thank you. By the way, here's what Jamie Raskin had to say when we interviewed him about which team he wanted. Here, play this clip.
Check that one out.
Okay. Who you got in the World Cup?
Yeah.
Who you got in the World Cup?
Oh, so, gee, I don't know. I mean, So, what happened today?
Spain beat France 2-0.
Yeah. So France is out now. I guess I don't know. I got to look and see who's still in it. The Spain I like very much. And they've been a strong pro-democracy country recently. So.
And the background of all of this is Donald Trump, through CENTCOM, announcing the 9th consecutive night of U.S. CENTCOM war crimes in Iran. Iranian military capabilities. Get the hell out of the region. Stop committing war crimes. You're crashing the global economy. More importantly and significantly, you're killing American troops. You're killing people in Iran. You're killing people in the region. Get the hell off the stage. Get out of the Middle East, you warmonger, genocidal maniac. Get the hell out of here, you freaking fascist weirdos. Get out. No one wants this. Stop it. And now we learned that there was a missing soldier in Jordan. The remains, the body parts of the missing soldier were just found, bringing the death toll from the end of last week up to 3 service members that we know about being killed in Jordan. I still think the fatality number is higher than that, and it's being covered up by CENTCOM. I also am confident that the seriously injured number is much higher than they're saying, but we know dozens of American soldiers were injured. We know 50 to 100 Iranians were killed. A lot of Iranian civilians.
Hey, man, listen, we're going to say it again. What's this guy? Who's this guy? Mel Gilham. Listen, Mel, if you're not bringing no facts, all you coming in here is to say that people are fascists and communists and leftists, and so what? Who cares? What fucking information are you bringing to say that we're wrong, to say all the facts that we're spitting in this motherfucker and all the facts that's being said in this goddamn video? What do you have to dispute that politically? Because you ain't really saying shit. None of y'all coming here, you're just calling names. Who gives a fuck? If I call names, it's going to be felt. But what they're going to do is flag me. I already learned this. So, take the medicine. One thing about medicine, Mel, is the shit don't taste good, motherfucker. But it might heal your sick ass. So keep listening. I see you still here with your ear wide open. So get this medicine and shut up.
have been killed. Another soldier actually was killed in northern Iraq during what CENTCOM says was a controlled detonation of an unexploded ordnance from an Iranian one-way attack drone. So a fourth death actually took place at the end of the week. And a controlled ordnance explosion is what they're saying. And as Donald Trump's up there trying to make the World Cup about himself, there are U.S. strikes taking place in Iran right now. Iran has responded by striking a tanker in Oman that was trying to leave. That tanker is now blown up. Ukrainian drones are attacking Moscow. Moscow is attacking Kyiv. Iran has launched missiles into Kuwait and Jordan. The Iran-aligned militia Islamic Resistance in Iraq has warned it will resume attacks in Iraq unless the United States stops its attacks in Iran, but the United States is not stopping its attacks in Iran. So the Iraqi resistance, they're going to be involved now in Iraq. The war is going to spread there. And new reporting from the Washington Post paints a sobering picture of the growing cost of the Iran war for the United States, as American officials warn the U.S. military is absorbing heavy damage while facing mounting constraints if the fighting escalates further. Military experts cited in the report caution that the U.S. is not prepared for a ground conflict, despite Donald Trump threatening one. The U.S. military is running short on air defense systems, long-range munitions, troops, and aircraft needed to sustain a major expansion of the conflict. Another soldier said, "We're getting beat up across the board." Let me just play the clip of Donald Trump getting booed one more time. Let's play it. There you have it. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
Breaking news right now, my brothers and I wrote a book. It's called WTF America. And well, doesn't that just say it all? It comes out officially this October, but you can pre-order your copy today. Just scan the QR code or click the link in the description below.
Double tap that screen, y'all. Smash that like button. You already know. Subscribe to the channel. It's the place right here where we bring that heat.
Would all be being utilized to shoot down, a ballistic missile like one, which is much cheaper. I mean, the Shahid drones are like $20. U.S. was using $5 million interceptors to try to shoot down a $1,000 drone, and the ballistic missiles that Iran uses are deadly, are powerful, and are much cheaper than the interceptors used to try to shoot it down. And so these Arab nations where the U.S. has bases, they have very weak defense systems, and Iran realized that.
Anthony, what up, man? Nah, I never heard of that joint. I might go ahead and pull them up, though. Good political guys. I'll check them out.
Iran realized that Israel is being protected most by the United States with the Iron Dome. And so what Iran has done strategically is said, we're not going to hit Israel yet or right now. Instead, we're going to expose that the U.S. security umbrella promised to the Arab nations is very weak, especially as compared to the security umbrella given to Netanyahu and given to Israel, and we'll strike the bases. And so Iran has not only realized that the U.S. has run out of a lot of munitions protecting the Arab nation bases, where the U.S. has these bases, but also Iran studied the way the interceptors worked during the earlier rounds of war back in March and April, and Iran has been able to figure out how its ballistics can avoid the U.S. interceptors. And so we've been seeing these videos of Iran's ballistic missiles and drones striking with a high degree of efficiency. And then we've been studying the satellite footage. Now, the Trump regime has ordered that any company in the United States that puts out the satellite image basically stop producing any of the images of the region. There's Planet Labs and a few other groups that do that. Think about that by itself, okay? Like you're covering that up. So a lot of the images come from Chinese satellite imagery and other international companies because the Trump regime can't shut them down. And every day now, since Trump has once again began this escalation, and now we're on day 10 of the kind of massive escalation that Trump begun and Iran's response, I've been reporting on showing you the satellite images of what's going on in Jordan. There's various bases there, which from the footage are like obliterated. And CENTCOM would put out
Bet Infinite, we definitely gonna tap into good political guys for sure.
statements like, yeah, nothing happened, everything is okay. Then I would show you some of the photos of Erbil, Iraq, or I'd show you photos of Bahrain, or I'd show you photos of Al Udeid in Qatar, of certain areas in Saudi Arabia, in Kuwait. And I would say, this looks pretty bad, by the way, and the Trump regime would never put out any information. And so now we're learning at a minimum, this is what CBS is saying, which I believe is downplaying it. At a minimum, 100 troops have been in 100 U.S. service members have been injured in the past month. But remember, Trump's massive escalation is only 10 days. So that's about 10 troops every day on average right now. And since that 10 days, we have at least 3 service members in Jordan were killed. I think a 4th in Iraq was killed, and the Trump regime.
Real quick, in the chat, if you believe that there's more than goddamn 13 or 16 people that's been killed in this entire conflict, type 1 in the chat if you believe there's more than 16. Because that's all they're saying that it is. It's 16 fucking people. I can't believe that in no type of way. If you believe there's more, type 1. If you believe there's 16 or whatever the hell they're saying it is, type 2.
Is saying working near a Shahed drone that fell and the drone exploded when they were trying to do a controlled detonation of the Iranian drone, and it was somebody nearby who got killed. So that's what we know about. That's in 10 days. And as Trump's hit desalination facilities in Iran, Iran hit the desalination facility in Kuwait. That's how they get their water.
Thank you for that, JP. Tap in, y'all. Tap in. Tap in on them. Tap in. 1 or 2. 1 if you think it's more. 2 if you think it's as reported.
The Middle East, because there's no water supplies. So these desalination facilities is what allows them to get water. And Iran's controlled the Strait of Hormuz. It's, you know, the U.S. tried to get out other ships today, like a Greek ship, I believe, that had Saudi oil on it. That was hit and struck down. Iran keeps striking any ships. Iran's controlling the Strait of Hormuz. And then in Yemen, the Houthis, who are allied with Iran, they announced that they're shutting down, as I said, I've been predicting, the Bab el-Mandab Strait as it relates to any Saudi Arabian ships as well. And so Saudi ships being blocked out of the Strait of Hormuz and blocked out of the Bab el-Mandab Strait in the Red Sea. And I could keep going on.
So you think hundreds of troops have been killed? Yeah, I would say hundreds. Hundreds. And I ain't talking fucking 100s. I'm talking hundreds. This is crazy, man. There's no goddamn way, folks, that is only goddamn 16 people injured. When they were saying it was 12 and 6, I knew that shit was a lie. I knew that was a lie. But we're going to find out real soon.
But that pretty much brings us to where we are right now. And Trump's view, and I'll toss it to you, Brett and Jordy, if we just keep bombing them more, then they're going to want to just bomb them more, and they're going to want to do a deal. No, you bomb them more, and Iran has been very carefully climbing the escalatory ladder, responding. No, Iran will respond. They're not going to want to do a deal. And when we talk later in this show about Donald Trump's view with Canada, just tariff them more, and they will stop retaliating. That'll bring them down to their knees. It's predator behavior. It's war criminal behavior. It's Epstein class behavior. Brett, Jordy.
And not to mention the contradictions of the strategy. I mean, at this point, Donald Trump has already shown his cards. A few weeks ago, when Donald Trump had stopped the fighting for a moment, he revealed to the entire world that we were running incredibly low on oil and were potentially going, or likely to hit like a global depression in just a few weeks if he kept the war going. Now he is indeed keeping the war going. And we continue to see more reporting that there's this very contradictory strategy at play where Donald Trump wants to escalate and escalate and escalate. However, the actual military experts and the actual heads of the military are warning that we simply don't have the capacity to keep this going. We don't have the munitions to keep this going. We don't have the defenses to keep this going. And so it's creating this incredibly dangerous situation. I'll read you just a bit of this reporting that was in the Washington Post.
MAGA, you're dead or you're listening?
That paints this very sobering picture of the growing costs of the war. I mean, they have American officials warning that the U.S. military is absorbing such heavy damage while facing mounting constraints if the fighting escalates further. And we know that that's exactly what Donald Trump wants to do. And we've seen these military installations hit. We've seen Black Hawk helicopters damaged. We've seen barracks get destroyed by Iranian ballistic missiles, munitions and air defense stockpiles depleted. We are getting beat up across the board, a soldier told the Washington Post. Yet despite all of that, Donald Trump wants to keep escalating. And maybe it's out of desperation. Maybe it's we're running low, so let's try to hit him as hard as we can right now and try to do what we can in this moment. But it really is a failing strategy. And I think you see even the U.S. military through these leaks to the Washington Post right now trying to tell them, like trying to get the message out, like we're in trouble, people. We're in trouble if Donald Trump continues down the road that he is going right now. And we're just seeing the devastation add up. We're seeing the American soldiers die in vain. It is absolutely appalling to me to see these brave men and women who are stationed out there get killed for Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu's war. The way Donald Trump treats their deaths to me is so incredibly callous as well. Like there were at least 3 U.S. soldiers who died over the weekend. And Donald Trump, when he speaks about them, he says something like, oh yeah, there were 2 soldiers who died, you know, yeah, I guess there's a 3rd or something as well, maybe. Like the way he just throws it out so callously like that. It really just shows he doesn't care. And then there's also the human toll that's happening in Iran. I mean, people forget whenever we do these bombing campaigns every night, we're bombing Iranian civilians as well. It's not just military installations. We're bombing in highly populated areas. And the latest counts is that somewhere around, I think it's like 1,700 Iranian civilians. That's, but you know, before you get to anyone in the military, but civilians have been killed by the United States. What do you think that does to the people in Iran? Every time we kill more and more Iranian civilians, it hardens their resolve and makes them want to support the regime more. It has the opposite effect of the intended objectives of the war. That's what we're seeing play out right now.
Exactly, B. Look, I sit here and it's not to be like an I told you so type of moment because I don't believe in that. What's the point in that? But just like when we report on Donald Trump's incompetence and that it's going to get more soldiers killed, it's because Donald Trump's incompetence is going to get more soldiers killed. Every day Donald Trump remains the commander in chief, we are less safe as Americans, and we're just further and further away from actually ending the war with Iran. I look at the data, and the data tells me that this raging lunatic president of ours, who actually has no idea how to put out the fire that he started. And by the way, why did he even start the fire? Can we even get an answer on that? Open the strait. The strait was open, Donald. They're nuclear facilities. You've told us they've been totally eviscerated. Why are we still there? Regime change. You said that they changed the regime. What are we doing and why? And it's just, again, it comes from a very human standpoint. Democrat, Republican, I don't care about political party. That's boring. Humanity. Donald Trump's incompetence is going to get our troops killed. His incompetence is going to get our troops killed. It's an infuriating thing as you see MAGA and the Republican Party wrap themselves in the American flag and just so bastardize our country and make light of the deaths of these soldiers. One death is too many. And by the way, while we're on the topic of numbers here, I think the Trump regime formally acknowledges that it's 17 or 18 soldiers. Again, I want to emphasize 1 soldier is too many. But I feel like the number that's coming out is so intentionally vague. I've seen multiple sources report different things, especially on the corporate media front, as far as what the number actually is or isn't. And again, it's just, in my opinion and belief here too, that the numbers that the Trump regime is willing to acknowledge, you could probably multiply that by 3 or 4 if that's what they're comfortable telling the American people right now. If those numbers are what they're fessing up to, because we know that these bases have been hit. We know the toll that this has already taken on our troops. And you know that you can never trust the information really that's coming out of the Trump regime, especially during times of war. It's an infuriating thing that's all playing out because I just feel like we're being gaslit, and again, in a very dehumanizing way.
I just want what we're showing on the screen for our audio listeners and for our viewers who may not know what we're showing. We're showing at least 24 containerized living units housing U.S. troops at that base in Jordan that were completely destroyed by Iranian strikes, right? Those containerized units, you know, almost think, right, they're like the makeshift kind of garbage trucks, you know, those big container trucks that are turned into housing units that are basically Trump putting our troops as these kind of just sitting targets at this point that are, you know, the only decision from Iran at this point, honestly, is they could probably destroy all of it if they wanted to. And Iran just figures, well, we need to climb the escalatory ladder. And I think they have to show a little restraint because they don't want to have a strike that's just so big, right? Which they could do at any moment right now if they wanted to. That would then kind of galvanize the sentiment against them. So I think Iran is also making a strategic decision rather than wipe all of them out, just use 8, you know, salvos of like 8 to 12 ballistics. Like that's what Iran's using. It's not like they're doing 300, 400 ballistic barrages. Like they're doing 8 to 12 and like 80% of them get through and the interceptors only strike down like 2 of them. And here's the thing too, and people don't remember a lot of this history. You know, back in 2024, when Iran struck Israel and did a 300, 400 strike barrage, there was kind of a media, like people like, I didn't remember that happening, right? No, in 2024, Iran struck Israel. There was like a media blackout on it, both in Israel and the US. And it was all reported like, Iran completely failed. They didn't know what they're doing. Israel struck all of the Iranian ballistics. It was true that the Iron Dome struck a lot of it, but a lot of the Iranian ballistics actually got through. Also, in the initial response to the 12-day war back in June, same thing. Also, if you studied what happened early on in this war, Iran's ballistics are effective. There's a reason why Putin uses Iran and the Shahid drones and the ballistics and Iran engineering to fuel that machine. Iran is able to create, you know, with their engineering, very strong weapons. So it's not me trying to like glaze them. And you have to understand and have a realistic perspective of what we're dealing with. And the Trump regime wants to act like we've obliterated them, we've destroyed them, they don't exist, none of it happens. And then you'll hear about our soldiers getting killed. And lots of Americans like, well, how did that happen? We were told, how did they do that? Because Trump's lying about everything. And the very premise right now, the very premise that we'll keep on
Randy Graves, you a fool, man. Welcome to the chat.
bombing them, and then they're going to be like, oh, you've bombed us. Now we want to do a deal. Versus we bomb them, they respond. This thing escalates more and more and more into a full-fledged regional war. And also, let's not ignore that Donald Trump's the person who said on day one he would bring peace to Ukraine and Russia. That Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Trump said, I'd be able to solve it on day one. I have a great relationship with Putin, and Zelensky listens to me. And what we've been seeing, as I've been following, and I've been covering both, you've got the Middle East on fire right now in missiles, Arab nations being hit, the U.S. striking Iran. You know, you have literally the Middle East has been lit up on fire right now. And then I look at what's going on with Ukraine and Russia.
Ukraine with its drones striking deeper and deeper in Russia, most recently hitting the Wildberry logistical facility right outside Moscow, which looked like an apocalypse when you saw the skies and what it looked like. And then Russia responds, strikes Ukraine really hard. The skies above Ukraine look like a hellish apocalypse as well. And so you've got all of this now happening. And then you now look at the Red Sea where the Houthis align. We're showing images of what it looks like in Kyiv. We're showing, what it also looked like, in Russia over Moscow. And then now in the Red Sea, you have the Houthis, and they're working, in in Africa, in Somalia, and groups that are aligned there to shut down, both sides of the Red Sea. And so you have and this isn't me being hyperbolic. This is a global scale war right now where the entire world is pretty much engaged in a war. You can call it whatever you want, but I think that accurately describes. But I know you've got points, Jordy, you've got points. Why don't we take our first quick break of the show? When we come back, I do want to talk about Donald Trump getting booed at the World Cup as he tried to hog attention for himself. I want to talk about a lot of domestic issues, things that are happening right now here in the United States, as some of the latest polling for Trump has his approval worse than Nixon when Nixon resigned. I mean, amongst independents. I want to remind everybody about WTF America. Make sure you get your copy, pre-order it right now. And then we're going to do a behind the scenes on Patreon. Why don't we do that? I want to make an apology to all of our Patreon supporters. We've been spending so much time on this book that I literally haven't slept all that much. We've been working so hard on the book. But what we're going to do to try to make up for it on Patreon, subscribe to the Midas Touch Patreon, and what we'll do there is we'll do a behind the scenes. We'll do a behind the scenes about what's in the book, what to be expected in the book. So subscribe to the Midas Touch on Patreon, patreon.com/Midas Touch. All right, let's take our first quick break of the show. Patreon.com/Midas Touch. First quick break of the show. We'll be right back after this.
If a genie gave me 3 wishes, I would use all of my wishes to wish for my cat to live forever. But since genies don't exist, as far as I know, I feed my cat Smalls. Smalls is fresh, human-grade cat food that does so much more than just feed your cat. It helps them live a full, healthy life. Most cat food out there, it's made with these meat products and cheap fillers and artificial ingredients, basically stuff that isn't great for your cat. Big Pet Food does this because it's cheaper to make. But what they save on cost, your cat pays for with their health. Smalls is different. Their fresh recipes are made with at least 80% animal protein, and they're gently cooked to retain all their nutrients and flavor. They never add fillers or artificial ingredients, and their food is so healthy that
Double tap that screen, y'all. Smash that like button.
Oh, this level's going to be easy. I can definitely handle 5 guys at once. Pfft. Oh, there's more. Could have predicted.
They know Donald Trump in New Jersey, where this World Cup match had the boos raining down when he walked out with FIFA's president. When Spain was celebrating its victory, you could see Trump sort of lingering on stage. Australian broadcasters also discussing whether he'd stay in the photos.
In 2026, the champions of the world are Spain!
Is now, so they can edit him out of that.
They can edit him out of that. That's real-time commentary, and it happened, as Forbes reported. The FIFA World account posted this shot where, if you look closely, you can see the leader of the free world's right arm getting cropped. Now, Trump's unpopularity abroad is well known, but again, this was a match held, and the boos you hear are inside the United States. His approval stuck in the 30s over the war, as we were covering at the top of the show, the economy, and other failures. Republicans close to the operation say it's time to make the midterms a kind of, quote, hate election. Republicans admit, Axios reports, the midterm forecast is bleak. But if they can just make voters hate Dems more than Republicans, maybe the losses won't be as bad. I want to bring in a special guest. Brian Tyler Cohen is the host of the No Lie podcast, which has billions of views online. He's interviewed all kinds of heavyweights across the Democratic Party, including that rare get in American politics, a recent sit-down with former President Obama.
We've seen the de-evolution of the discourse. How do we come back from a place that we have fallen into?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to recognize that the majority of the American people find this behavior deeply troubling. It is true that it gets attention. It's true that it's a distraction.
Cohen is also the author of the new book, The Day After: How to Wield Power in a Post-Trump World. You can get that right now wherever books are sold. Brian is one of these new voices that we've been listening to. As you know, the world keeps evolving. Welcome back.
All right, thanks for having me.
Yeah, the top story here relates to your book. So reading from a passage, you talk about how before 2024, this duality that Bill Clinton had discussed, strong and wrong, was beating weak and right. You say you could say that demonizing the opposition is bad for the country, but you can't say it's worse than Trump's presidency. The truth is Republicans have been playing the long game, Dems playing the wrong game. Bars, Brian. And you go on to write, why are Dems so far behind with this kind of politics? It works. Look at the two times Dems did play hardball. You point to 96 and 2012, where the campaigns really did diminish their opponents sailing to victory, rather than the talk we've heard so often about going high. How does that apply today when we see these reports, everything from abuse of power, revenge indictments, ICE at the polls, to a propaganda campaign that Axios reports would be just about hating Dems?
Well, look, they have run that playbook over and over and over again, and largely it's been successful. I mean, how many elections can you remember, Ari, where Republicans had deferred to this idea of migrant caravans or demonizing gay people or trans people, as was the case in this latest election? There's always some minority to punch down on, always some scapegoat. That's the problem. That's the cause of all of our woes, as opposed to the people who are actually causing a lot of the problems in this country, who in large part are the millionaires and billionaires who benefit from the policies of this administration. It is notable that you have Republicans who continuously run on punching down on these small minorities, but at the same time, the first thing they do is pass tax cuts, for example, that heap benefits onto the wealthiest Americans in this country, as we see income inequality explode. And by the way, Republicans know that this is potent. That's why they run on it. But the problem is, when they get into office, they never actually deliver on any of those things. It's always about finding some small minority to beat down on as the cause of all of our nation's problems.
What are the issues that you think currently work best against Trump?
The issues that currently work best against Trump, well, I mean, his blatant corruption and his unwillingness to deliver on the very things that he promised on the campaign trail. Both of those things in concert, I think, tell a really clear story about who this president is working for, which would be bad enough unto itself, but even worse given the fact that this is somebody who came into office on this pretext that he was going to focus on the little guy. It was him who decided to run an America First campaign, and really the only person that stood to benefit from this is not the 350 million people in this country, it's Donald Trump himself. He's the one who's tripled his net worth. He's the one who's encrusting the Oval Office in gold, building himself a monument in the form of a ballroom and maybe a triumphal arch, who's gotten a new airplane out of this that's going to, of course, go to him after he's out of office. And so, again, the person who stands to benefit from all of Trump's priorities, as we see costs rise, as we see healthcare gutted, as we see food assistance gutted, as we see gas prices rise, is only one guy. It's Trump.
What do you see in the early primaries, which, of course, are just a smattering, and this conversation about generational change? We followed this now across two elderly presidents, an elderly Supreme Court, Mitch McConnell, mystery about his health status. But I think we'd all be fair to note It's a problem in both parties and across every branch of government. How much of that does that account for some of the energy behind younger Democratic candidates?
I think that's a huge driver of the future of the Democratic Party. I mean, there's no doubt, as you mentioned rightfully, that gerontocracy is a problem in this country. My generation, millennials, have largely been locked out of power forever. And frankly, some of the millennials that are getting into office now are the most popular politicians in America, whether it's Zohran Mamdani in New York, whether it's AOC also in New York, whether it's John Ossoff down in Georgia. This is what happens when you actually make a bridge to the next generation and allow people who are more charismatic, more dynamic, more articulate, more tech savvy to have their spot in the spotlight, have their chance in the spotlight to actually show what they can do. And so I think this should be a blinking red light to existing members of the Democratic caucus that you know, if you stand for the things that you claim to stand for, make way for people who are going to be more effective arbiters, more effective shepherds of that exact message, because the people who are seeing popularity, the people who are able to better relate to the electorate, are those younger people who've grown up in these ecosystems where the vast majority of Americans are already getting their news.
Yeah. And that you could be a great shepherd and still eventually say, it's time to have a shepherd's retirement. Let somebody else out on the hills, you know? Brian, as mentioned, a lot of folks know you online. Folks know you from the Obama interview. To our viewers, we appreciate you coming back. And that book, if you want to learn more about what Brian's saying, is The Day After: How to Wield Power in a Post-Trump World. You can Google that or get it wherever books are sold.
I see a lot of y'all typing dumb shit in the chat. A vote for Democrats is a vote for communism. What the fuck is a vote for the Republicans? Insanity. Yeah.
Senator Booker.
Huh? Yeah, she on her way home.
Good afternoon, Mr. Blanche. Good afternoon. Our president has a very well-documented history of attempting to corruptly influence government officials to advance his own personal interest. He called the Republican Secretary of Georgia asking him to find enough votes to overturn the election. He withheld military aid to pressure Zelensky to investigate Joe Biden's son. For these things, he has been impeached. He's been criminally convicted in Georgia, indicted in Georgia, because he uses his power to unjustly influence people. When a president routinely pressures public officials for his own personal benefit, the Department of Justice has to remain independent. This brings me really to you, and I think what has you at the center of so much concern is that you seek to lead the Department of Justice after being the president's personal lawyer. The American people are really entitled to know whether your allegiance to the rule of law is your focus or your allegiance to one man who clearly has an insatiable appetite for revenge, self-enrichment, and the abuse of power. So I want to talk about your record. Under you, the department has prosecuted people that have caught folks on both sides of the political aisle by surprise. Jim Comey, Letitia James, my colleague Adam Schiff, Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. This casts a shadow over your ideas, any ideas of independence. You directed the arrest of Mayor Ras Baraka of my city of Newark. You weren't at Delaney Hall on May 9th, 2025 when he was arrested, but yes or no, did you have a conversation with Special Agent in Charge Ricky Patel ordering him to arrest Mayor Baraka?
I had a conversation. I didn't order him to arrest. I authorized the arrest, which is my job.
So you were not there, and we have body camera footage of him then moving and saying, "We are arresting the mayor right now per," this is his quote, "the Deputy Attorney General of the United States." I want to put that into the record, your comments there. And the district court, assessing all of your conduct, admonished the Department of Justice. This is the quote of the judge, the federal judge. "Your role is not to advance political agendas. Your allegiance is to the impartial application of the law and to uphold due process for all. But this is just one example cited by over 1,200 current and former Department of Justice officials appointed under presidents of both parties who warned that you should not be in this position because of your inability to be independent from your personal allegiance to Donald Trump over the rule of law. I met yesterday with Epstein survivors. Some of them are here in the room today. Congress, in a bipartisan fashion, passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act because the American people were demanding justice. Yet you failed to abide by that law and release the files by the deadline established by the law. And when the files were finally released, you failed to protect the survivors that law was intended to protect. Survivors' personal information, including names, phone numbers, home addresses, and images were released. Powerful people were redacted. Survivors were subjected to re-traumatization.
All right, guys, so we've got a bunch of massive updates on Iran that we're going to get to in this video, as it looks like the Pentagon is once again engaging in not only a cover-up of the extent of the damage to U.S. bases throughout the region, but also of the amount of soldiers that have been either killed or wounded in the last couple of weeks here. And at the same time, we also just had today the Houthis officially launching a blockade of Saudi Arabian access to the Red Sea and the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which is going to turn an already catastrophic global oil scenario that much more catastrophic. So a lot of important stuff that we're going to get to here. Of course, off the top, remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all of that good stuff helps to support the channel. Now we're going to start off here with the latest from Donald Trump himself, posting on his Truth Social in response to what I covered on the channel yesterday of multiple U.S. service members being killed in Jordan and Iraq as a part of their retaliatory strikes across these Gulf countries. So here Donald Trump says, every time Iran kills an American soldier, they will pay for that killing many times over. This directive has been passed on to the Secretary of War, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and every leader in the military. So first off, obviously, we're going to see a massive escalation either tonight or in the coming days from the United States, which means in turn, there is going to be an escalation, a retaliatory one from the Iranians. Now, it's genuinely terrifying to think, where can this possibly go from here? Because we've basically blown past almost every single red line that you could possibly imagine. I mean, we have seen civilian infrastructure targeted in Iran and across the region. We've seen their energy infrastructure, their energy grid, their oil infrastructure, their nuclear infrastructure, airports, railways, desalination plants. Literally every single thing is on the table at this point, and the US can engage in relentless bombing campaigns and target Iranian infrastructure, but Iran has the capacity and the willingness to respond in kind, and they can do the same thing to all of these Gulf countries, and it can really become like existential overnight, depending on what exactly they're targeting, whether it's oil infrastructure, which then means you're not only dealing with the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, but having to grapple with rebuilding infrastructure that could take potentially months, potentially years to get fully back online. You know, if we continue to strike desalination plants, a lot of these Gulf countries are basically almost entirely or largely reliant on their desalination plants for fresh water supplies. So what happens if Iran decides, okay, this is existential, it's on, we're going to take them out and take them offline overnight? I mean, again, there's no viable military escalation here from the United States that is going to improve the situation at all. But Trump seems to indicate here that escalation is coming either way. Now, we also have at the same time
Got in a car accident? Don't call a lawyer. Use this free AI tool instead. That's how I walked away with $93,000.
reporting here from The Intercept. There were other articles that were reporting this, I believe the New York Times as well, that Iran attacks have injured far more troops than the Pentagon has been admitting. Iran strikes caused dozens of casualties and the first deaths in action since the ceasefire collapsed, according to U.S. officials. So again, kind of similar to what we saw in the early days of this war back in February and in March, where the Pentagon would come out and they would deny claims of any injuries or any deaths, and then eventually you would either have some media outlet reports on it and they're forced to sort of admit, yeah, okay, our bases are kind of getting obliterated, or satellite imagery would prove that, or yeah, we did have serious casualties as a result of some of these strikes. And it looks like they're repeating that exact same playbook once again. Now, to put this in scope and in scale here from CBS News, they say nearly 100 U.S. service members have been injured in Iranian attacks on multiple bases in the Middle East this month, according to U.S. officials. Some suffered traumatic brain injuries, and a lot of them have already returned to duty. But again, 100 injuries, right? 100 casualties here, including the 4 deaths that we know about. It could be significantly more than that. And when you look at some of the images of the strikes on our bases and our other assets throughout the region, like, these are major strikes. These are not small things that we're talking about here. And so just to give a perspective in terms of a specific example of the strikes happening, the Iranians claiming successful strikes, the Pentagon coming out, CENTCOM coming out, denying those strikes, and then we get the reality later. Here's just one example. On July 17th, so just a couple days ago, Iran claimed to have targeted a U.S. Special Ops Command Center in the Al-Tanf region of Syria. A few minutes later, CENTCOM said that there were no attacks on the Al-Tanf garrison and that no U.S. troops in the region had recently been killed. So when CENTCOM wrote this supposed fact check, there was a direct hit just 20 kilometers south of the area that the Iranians claimed that they hit in this same Al-Tanf region, successfully hitting U.S. soldier accommodations areas. So, I mean, this is, again, sort of like the shady game that they're playing. It's like they release a statement saying, we successfully struck this base in Al-Tanf. The CENTCOM Twitter account posts here, there was no attack at the Al-Tanf garrison. And then later we get satellite imagery confirming, no, they actually did. It was just like 20 kilometers south at a different specific, soldier accommodation area. So again, the cover-up continues. And we also have further satellite imagery here on the recent strike in Jordan, which you can see the video on your left that I played for you guys yesterday, that killed multiple, at least 3 that we know about, injured potentially dozens in Jordan. And so you can see the before and after satellite imagery here. Again, like, if these are the barracks, or if this is where some of the soldiers are sleeping or staying, I mean, we're seeing like multiple buildings that have been completely leveled to the ground here. I mean, again, these aren't incidental strikes where it, hits one section of one tiny building. Like, entire barracks are being wiped out in some of these strikes. And we also have at the same time a massive military buildup that continues to happen throughout the region. The New York Times is reporting here that the U.S. is sending more warplanes to the Middle East. F-16 and F-35 fighter jets are en route from Europe. And also keep in mind, part of the reason why Iran has been targeting Jordan so heavily in this recent round of fighting is because a lot of U.S. troops were moved essentially back from the front lines in bases in Bahrain and Qatar and Kuwait, probably because of the success of the last round of strikes from the Iranians and their demonstrated capability to accurately hit American to overwhelm American air defenses, which also important to remember, during the first round of fighting in February and March, we depleted a massive portion of our stockpile of defense interceptor munitions, as well as our other missiles that we're using offensively against Iran. And so we're running low on a lot of these supplies, which further emphasizes why we're seeing, so many successful strikes. And if U.S. troops and U.S. positioning is moving further and further back towards Jordan or towards Israel, where Ben Gurion Airport has been a major hub for transiting in U.S. equipment and personnel, then it seems inevitable at this point that at some point Iran is probably going to end up striking inside of Israel, assuming that Israel doesn't attack them first, because this is where a huge hub of the American military launching this war against Iran is centered out of. Now, we also have at the same time new reporting from the Washington Post in terms of the dire situation that the U.S. military is currently facing. So they say officials say that key military installations in Jordan have been struck repeatedly, like multiple days back to back to back. Black Hawk helicopters have been damaged, hardened barracks have been destroyed by Iranian ballistic missiles, and U.S. munitions and air defense stockpiles are rapidly being depleted. They say the Pentagon is preparing for the possibility of a wider war, but warned that the military is running short on the air defense systems, long-range munitions, troops, and aircraft needed to sustain a major expansion of the conflict. Another soldier said, "We're getting beat up across the board." So again, it's a dire situation for the U.S. right now in multiple different ways. Number one, you have the lack of munitions in terms of defense interceptors, in terms of long-range munitions, in terms of troops, in terms of aircraft. You have shortages on that end, which are not easy to replenish. They're incredibly expensive to replenish anyways. But you have that aspect of it. And then number two, you also have the issue of the global oil markets, which in turn affects the United States of America. Of course, we have our strategic petroleum reserve that is, close to bottoming out at the lowest levels that it can possibly be at. So you have that angle of it, a global pending economic crisis. And then you also have the midterms that are coming up. So politically, Republicans, Trump, are going to have to grapple with the fact that they're on track to get wiped out in the midterms in, no small part because of this completely unnecessary war of aggression that Trump decided to launch and then to relaunch against the Iranians with no real clear goal in mind. So there are multiple different levels in which the United States is just completely cooked at this point. We can continue, again, the bombing runs will keep going for the next coming days, presumably, but what is it actually going to achieve strategically, right? Are the Iranians going to throw up the white flag of surrender? Doesn't seem like it. Now, in terms of what some top Iranian officials are saying, here we have the Speaker of the Parliament, Ghalibaf. He says, Americans keep bringing new military equipment to the region and claim that they're after stopping the war. They have bet our intelligence on our intelligence being as brief as their own IQ. We have reached the stage of mastery in recognizing the American games, and on that basis, we prepared ourselves. Action must confirm claims, not contradict them. So effectively saying that the Iranians are preparing for continued war and that they're ready for it. Now, we also have here from Drop Site News, we're now 9 days as of last night into these recent strikes on Iran, hitting sites from Tabriz to Chabahar. We have CENTCOM saying that it began a new wave of strikes last night at 7 p.m. on Sunday, the 9th consecutive night of the campaign, saying that attacks would keep degrading Iranian military capabilities used to attack commercial vessels and civilian mariners transiting the Strait of Hormuz. And just keep in mind, what this recent round of fighting really was sparked off by. It was sparked off by attacks on ships in the Strait of Hormuz. And this goes back to the memorandum of understanding that the U.S. agreed to, where Trump came out and announced it and, backed it. Part of the memorandum of understanding very clearly and explicitly outlined that during the negotiating period where the final deal would effectively be negotiated, Iran would have control over the Strait of Hormuz, and then you would have some sort of a joint control system with Oman, right? That was what was in the memorandum of understanding. Then you have, as these negotiations are going on, the United States tries to set up a alternative corridor for ships to not have to coordinate with the Iranians, and that corridor sort of went around the coast of Oman. So we were violating the understanding of the memorandum of understanding, and so Iran decides to start striking some of these ships to say, no, don't go through the strait unless you're coordinating with us. And then in response to that, the U.S. restarts this war with Iran. So, I mean, that's what this was all about, the refusal from the United States to accept that to some extent, one way or another, Iran is going to have some sort of like sovereign control over the Strait of Hormuz. What exactly that ends up looking like, we don't know. But this is where we're at as a result of that inability to understand the dynamics of the current situation. And we also have Trump chiming in here once again. I won't play the video because the audio is terrible next to all of these aircraft. But he said here, Iran has been very badly damaged. They've lost almost everything militarily. Kind of amazing, right? They've lost their entire military and are still capable of obliterating American bases. But he says they've got very little left. They've got some missiles and some drones. They've got some manufacturing ability, not much. We control the strait. They don't control anything. So we'll see what happens, but we'll hit them very hard again tonight. And we did it in honor of the probably three as opposed to two great patriots, the ones who were obviously killed as a result of this pointless war that, was entirely Trump's fault to begin with. I mean, sacrificed, unfortunately, for nothing, right? That's what they were sacrificed for at the altar of a war for Israel. That's what these American troops just died for. And he says, again, delusionally here, that we control the strait. Well, I mean, you can kind of try to wish cast that into reality, but the reality on the ground will continue to disagree with you. Now, we also have, moving on to some of the Iran angles of this, this is kind of incredible. I mean, I don't know how exactly to read into this, but from Drop Site News, we had the IRGC thanking the people and military personnel of Jordan for providing information that it claims enabled precise targeting of U.S. forces in the Azraq area, alleging that 20 hangars were destroyed and dozens of U.S. personnel were killed. So again, we don't have confirmation on the exact numbers that are being claimed here from the IRGC, but thanking the people and the military personnel of Jordan, right? Which is nominally, at least at the upper echelons of its government, supposed to be a top U.S. ally, right? This is why we have American bases in Jordan that we're using to fight this war against Iran. But Iran is alleging, the IRGC is alleging here, that there are either individuals, maybe civilians, some of them maybe military personnel, who are assisting them in targeting these American bases, which is absolutely wild stuff there. I mean, again, it's just a claim from the IRGC. They could be trying to play some sort of like mental games here, but either way, absolutely incredible statement there. And we also have from Drop Site News continued targeting of Kuwait and Bahrain hit by Iranian missiles and drones again on Monday. Both countries have faced continuous severe waves of attacks in the past 24 hours. We also have here from Mohammad Morandi, obviously deeply tied in with the Iranian negotiating team and the government. He says people should evacuate Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and possibly Oman if the Trump regime continues to push escalation. The fate of key infrastructure across these complicit regimes is not in doubt. They will become unlivable. So this is the threat, sort of an echo from the Iranians, is get out of Kuwait, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, possibly basically every country immediately adjacent to the Iranians. They're saying leave because overnight they could become unlivable. And it's not an empty threat, right? We're not talking about Iran nuking these countries and wiping everybody out in these countries. But if you just take out like the desalination plants across, Kuwait or across Bahrain, both of which are incredibly reliant on their desalination plants, it becomes an overnight question of where the fuck are you getting a majority of your fresh water from now, right? Do you have supply lines that are capable of, replacing that in the immediate to short term? Like, it doesn't seem like it, right? So this truly could become existential overnight, depending on which direction the Trump administration decides to take this. We also have continued strikes reportedly here in the Strait of Hormuz. Trump saying, of course, it's free and fair and the U.S. is in total control. Well, here we have footage showing a Saudi commercial vessel on fire in the Strait of Hormuz after Iran's IRGC struck it while attempting to transit through the Omani side. And you can see extensive damage there to this ship. And at the same time, we also have Iran's foreign ministry coming out and talking about the memorandum of understanding that I was just referring to and how the U.S. has effectively violated it. So here we have Begay saying, Clause 5 of the memorandum of understanding affirmed Iran's right to manage the Strait of Hormuz. That's true. Analyses seeking to cast doubt on the text of the memorandum effectively help to justify the United States' breach of commitments and violation of the agreement. The document is brief, consisting of 14 clauses, and is completely explicit with no ambiguity. Clause 5 clearly emphasizes Iran's responsibility for the future management of the Strait of Hormuz in consultation with Oman and through dialogue with regional countries. No other interpretation can be drawn from it. So again, you had the U.S. basically undercutting this Clause 5 of the Memorandum of Understanding and trying to get some sort of a workaround to degrade Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz, basically to weaken their negotiating position, their negotiating leverage amidst these talks. And that's what led to the strikes in the Strait of Hormuz and in the Gulf. And that's what led to this recent round of fighting, is because of this sort of violence. here of the MOU by the United States. We also have, at the same time, Roy Johnston reporting here that confirmed oil flow through the Strait of Hormuz has collapsed to 4 million barrels per day on a trailing 10-day average basis. This is down from 15 million in late June and at the lowest level since late May. So again, catastrophic, right? This is not a game where the United States can sort of, play the long game and sort of wait the Iranians out. This is catastrophic overnight, right? This is not something where we have weeks and weeks and weeks. Strategic Petroleum Reserve is at its lowest level now since 1983. And, you also have the uptick that's been reported recently of Chinese imports of oil, which they drastically reduced during huge portions of this war, which effectively allowed the oil prices to stay relatively lower than they otherwise would have been. I mean, we peaked, I think, somewhere between 115 and 120 at the heights of this war, but it could have been significantly worse than that. And because they're restarting their imports here, and because we have the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, the price of oil could be skyrocketing in the immediate future here. And now we get to this, right, which is going to make that situation 10 times worse, right? Because here we have from Dropsite News, Saudi Arabia's escape from Hormuz runs straight into Ansar Allah's embargo, or the Houthis, right? Saudi Arabia sharply increased crude exports through Yanbu on the Red Sea since the war began. Loadings hit roughly 4.7 million barrels per day around July 13th, which is about 4 to 5% of the total global supply. This is up from about 760,000 barrels before the war, according to Signal Ocean data reported by Reuters. And now with this announcement that the Red Sea is effectively shut down by the Houthis to at least the Saudis, it's not an entire shutdown, but specifically to Saudi Arabia, then poof goes 4.7 million barrels per day that the Saudis are able to export. So the Saudi Arabia at this point, if this blockade is effective, which the Houthis have shown previously that they are capable of enforcing a closure of the Red Sea to a large extent. So if this is successful, then the Saudis, I don't know how they're going to export any oil unless they're just basically trying to, risk it all and just try to plunge through the Strait of Hormuz or try to break through the blockade, but then you're risking, your ships being blown up by the Iranians or by the Houthis as well. Again, 5 million barrels per day being effectively taken offline by the Houthis here is no small amount, to say the least. And, I'll give you a quick, just map perspective of what exactly we're talking about here. Obviously, we have, Iran over here, Strait of Hormuz right here, Persian Gulf, all of these countries typically would be exporting, whether it's Kuwait or, Iraq or Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, the UAE, they would typically be exporting primarily through the Strait of Hormuz. But if this is shut down, then you also have alternatives, right? There's a couple alternatives here in Fujairah in the United Arab Emirates, where they've been sort of transiting their oil across here and then exporting to get around this choke point right here. The Iranians could end up, that's another escalation they could take, is bombing the port here in Fujairah. They haven't done that recently over the last couple of days, but that's another step that they could take. So that's the workaround for the UAE. And then the workaround for the Saudis is a pipeline, the East-West pipeline that, goes from over here and heads over to this port here in Yanbu. And there are several other ports as well that they use, but this is primarily the main port, it seems like, that they've been using to transit their oil around the Strait of Hormuz and into the Red Sea. Now, the problem is that a lot of these cargo containers that are carrying the oil aren't actually capable of going north and through the Suez Canal. They're too big, right? And so they have to transit south. And where does that bring you? Well, it brings you right here off the coast of Yemen to another choke point similar to the Strait of Hormuz, and this is the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. And so if the Iranians, and keep in mind the Houthis are largely in control of at least this major portion of Yemen, if they are able to effectively close this down for at least Saudi ships, then you guys tell me, how exactly is Saudi Arabia exporting oil to the global markets, right? I mean, again, this is catastrophic, at least for the Saudis, but also for the global markets as well. Now, we also have here from Rosemary, I think, a good breakdown in terms of why this is important, not just for oil exports, but she says what matters isn't just the oil from the port of Yanbu, but also Saudi and GCC grain imports through the Red Sea. Basically, Iran and the Houthis are threatening the Saudi economy with exactly the sort of broad-based economic warfare that the U.S. is subjecting Iran to through its blockade. So again, sort of using the U.S. strategy here and imposing a reverse blockade or a double blockade on Saudi Arabia in response to the U.S. blockade, trying to cut off Iran's access right over here to the rest of the world and to export their own petroleum and their own, oil resources. So this is a massive step up. This is something that I've been warning about for weeks and weeks. Could be an escalatory step if the war fully restarted. And here we are, right? Again, this is just involving Saudi Arabia specifically, because keep in mind, it was a couple weeks ago, I think at this point, that Saudi coalition forces launched attacks inside of Sana'a on Houthis and Houthi positions that were controlled by the Houthis. And so this is in response to that, but it could, escalate to them fully shutting down the strait. And then you have 10% to 15%.
Breaking news. A part of that breaking news is that Spain won the World Cup, so shout out to Spain. We love to see it. And the more political breaking news is that Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan Tate have been arrested in Florida, and they were arrested on warrants from the UK. And now Florida is seeking extradition for the Tates to the UK. And considering the fact that the UK put those warrants out for their arrests and they were willing to have them arrested in America, this means they have a pretty dang strong case against them. So if they're extradited, they'll probably be in jail for the rest of their lives. We're talking multiple counts of sex trafficking. We're talking multiple accounts of rape. We're talking crimes that in some states in America would get them on death row. So if they are extradited, chances are that they'll at least, at the minimum, spend the rest of their lives in jail. This is crazy. This is absolutely insane. It needs to happen. If you're familiar with the Tates, then you'll know why. I guess no more Bugattis for Mr. Andrew. Just wedgies from his British cellmate. Let's go through.
The immigrants of old turn their eyes toward America's gateway, Ellis Island, with its bleak 27 acres of buildings and grounds. Here they will be examined and their papers checked. Here, they will take their first steps toward American citizenship.
Pay attention.
The men, women, and children who come are continuing a flow of foreign-born that became the first English settlers at Jamestown in 1607. They are part of the largest migration of people in world history. Persons of all races, all nations, all conditions of life have sought and have found refuge in the United States. And every American, with the possible exception of the Indians, was either an immigrant himself or the descendant of an immigrant.
Now, as you can see here, America, this is the ancient world right here where these settlers came in from the European district to America. Now, this was in the early 1900s. And as you can see here, remember, early 1900s. And as you can see here, America, they came on boats. Now, the big theory is that black African Americans came on the boat, but we don't have no footage of the black Americans coming on the boat to America, but we do have footage of the Caucasians coming to America.
This is how you got here. You got here in the Imperium boat. There's your people right. You see your people in the back?
You see here?
He said, what does this image prove? It proves where you came from. It proves you was not from here. It proves you just got here.
Native.
It proves that
what you claiming is actually given.
A visitor.
God damn, it's bars. Shit, that's when you know it's the divine talking to me, man. I didn't know the divine was an MC like that, bruh. This is what it proved. This is you. You see them cats with the hats? They are the ones federally approving you. Y'all work together. See how that works? I know you see how that works. This is how you got here, bro. And like I said, this is the Imperium boat. Y'all on the Imperium boat.
$5.
Y'all on the Imperium boat. Right after the Empire fall, and y'all use the equipment to bring you up in here. See how that works? Talking about, oh, he was. Let me do a little zooming on your ancestors. You see your ancestors on the side? Zoom baby said, wow, why should we believe you? Oh, I don't know what's going on the chat. $5. I don't want to get involved, maybe. I'm not going to get involved, but man, look at here. This is how you got here, bruh. This is how you got here. That's your people right here. It's okay. All of y'all come from immigration, Ellis Island. And like I said, y'all use the Empire boat system to got here. Okay? Y'all use the Empire boat to got here. Now let me show you the Imperial. Let me show you the Empire boat. I told you. Right after that, right after the Empire fall in 1912, get rid of the Imperium.
Today, the stink brings you good news regarding this guy. Now, if you don't know who this guy is, let's watch a little.
You got that right. Yeah, we did it. We sure did do it. What you think? What you think we do when we take y'all's young men camping with us? We know them boys don't know how to swim. Yeah. We throw them in that water. We say, swim, boy, swim! Woo! Learn how to swim, boy! You can't do it! You can't do it, boy! Y'all ain't ever gonna learn how to swim!
That was Remington, also known as Mr. Hate 880, where we have an update on Remington, Mr. Hate 880. And let's just say, TikTok did their thing. Your bands, boy! That's what we do, boy! You see, we find racists, and what we do is we report them. We report them, boy! We take away their First Amendment right, because social media is not an entitlement, boy! No, it's a privilege, because you don't have a right, boy, to break those community guidelines. No, it is not an entitlement. Remington, it is a privilege, and you are banned, boy! And that really sucks for you. Do you know why, Remington? Because now you can't put out your GoFundMe. Now that your family has ousted you from their house, as your community has ousted you from their society, your job fired you. You have no way to have or make any income now, Remington. Oh, but who wants to see the cherry on the top of the cake? That's right. Because we heard through the grapevine that Remington's own sister reported him to the FBI. His own family is claiming that Remington is not a fit father and should not have custody of his children because hate is taught from the parents. TikTok has been getting a lot of slack lately from its creators, but in this case, I applaud this platform for doing the right thing, extinguishing hate from its platform. Now, in this excitement, let's not lose track of what this is about. this young man. And in this moment, Stink Nation wants justice for Nolan Wells. Guys, tell me what you think about this in the comments. And if you haven't followed me yet, please do. Have a day! Today, the Stink brings you good news regarding this guy. Now, if you don't know who this guy is, let's watch a little.
You got that right. Yeah, we did it. We sure did do it. What you think? What you think we do when we take y'all young men camping with us? We know them boys don't know how to swim. Yeah. We throw them in that water. We say, swim, boy, swim! Woo! Learn how to swim, boy! You can't do it! You can't do it, boy! Y'all ain't ever gonna learn how to swim!
That was Remington, also known as Mr. Hate 880, where we have an update on Remington, Mr. Hate 880. And let's just say, TikTok did their thing. Your bands, boy! That's what we do, boy! You see, we find racists, and what we do is we report them. We report them, boy! We take away their First Amendment right, because social media is not an entitlement, boy! No, it's a privilege, because you don't have a right, boy, to break those community guidelines. No, it is not an entitlement. Remington, it is a privilege, and you are banned, boy! And that really sucks for you. Do you know why, Remington? Because now you can't put out your GoFundMe. Now that your family has ousted you from their house, as your community has ousted you from their society, your job fired you. You have no way to have or make any income now, Remington. Oh, but who wants to see the cherry on the top of the cake? That's right, because we heard through the grapevine that Remington's own sister reported him to the FBI. His own family is claiming that Remington is not a fit father and should not have custody of his children because hate is taught from the parents. TikTok has been getting a lot of slack lately from its creators, but in this case, I applaud this platform for doing the right thing, extinguishing hate from its platform. Now, in this excitement, let's not lose track of what this is about. This young man. And in this moment, Stink Nation wants justice for Nolan Wells. Guys, tell me what you think about this in the comments. And if you haven't followed me yet, please do. Have a day!
Please, she does not deserve this. She's the sweetest person and she prayed for you.
She prayed for... Your wife prayed for Donald Trump? An undocumented Cuban prayed for Donald Trump? Oh, don't worry, Wayne. I'm pretty sure your Lord and Savior, Donald Trump, is praying for her that she doesn't get beheaded when she arrives.
A desperate plea to President Trump from a South Florida man fearing his life partner could be deported to Cuba at any moment. He reached out to our Christian De La Rosa to share his story and his remorse.
It's been 8 months. I didn't know a man could cry this much. I did not think that this would happen.
Wayne DeMario has been working overtime at a Southwest Miami-Dade guitar shop, trying to distract himself from his pain and regret.
I hate to see her going through this. She's my best friend.
His life partner of nearly 20 years, Yamile Alcantu, originally from Cuba, ICE detained her back in June.
8 months that she's been taken. I call it kidnapped because it basically is.
He says it happened during what they thought was just another immigration check-in.
They grabbed her, put her in shackles and chains.
She'd been checking in annually, as so many do, hoping to fix her status. She lost her legal residency and got a deportation order back in 2008 after a traffic stop.
They go through her purse, and then they dump the purse out, and 3 Xanax pills fall out.
But in those years, he says, they didn't think much of it.
Cuban's not going to get deported, so don't worry about it.
Today, DHS has her listed among the worst of the worst, a criminal arrested for dangerous drugs and possession. Wayne feels it's a slap in the face.
I didn't vote for this, but I definitely voted Republican.
I didn't vote for this? Your daddy, Lord and Savior, specifically told you that he's coming after all undocumented people. So what you really mean to say is, yeah, I was okay with that. I just thought my wife was special. Mama huevo.
He says both were staunch supporters of President Trump.
When you said I didn't vote for this, what?
Both were Trump supporters. An undocumented Cuban who had a deportation order was a Trump supporter. Well, my dear, your support really helped. You supported your way back to the shithole country that you came from.
For this, what did you think you had voted for?
I really thought this was just going to be something organized, but it's obviously not. They just blanket everybody.
Alcantu, calling from her detention facility in Louisiana. She says in her 8 months detained, she has not seen an immigration judge. She stresses she's
No somos criminales. We're not criminals.
She's not a criminal, and her biggest fear.
You were caught with narcotics, my dear, and for that reason you had a deportation order on your ass. Not criminal.
Being deported, especially to Cuba.
There are going to be people out there who hear your story, hear other stories like this, and say, well, you voted for this.
Yeah, I've heard that from people.
What do you
and
tell
they
those
said,
people?
I'm sorry. I didn't know that this was going to happen. This is about human beings. It's not about left or right. It's about right and wrong.
It's about human beings all of a sudden. I'm willing to bet both of my Kiwis that this piece of shit was perfectly okay with deporting people that looked like his wife.
I'm literally about to...
Donald Trump's top nominees just collapsed under brutal cross-examination in the United States Senate. First, I want to show you Senator Elizabeth Warren cross-examining Christopher Phelan, Donald Trump's nominee, to be the chair of the Council of Economic Advisors.
Oh my God, the fucking leftists, the Democrats, they're so evil, man. They're violent. Oh, they're so violent. They're gonna turn your fucking kids gay because they want everybody to be a transgender person. Fuck, man. Do you guys know how stupid and ignorant y'all fucking sound? I wish you guys could fucking hear yourselves. Man, I was in Oklahoma City when the Murrah building exploded. I was within that fucking area where you could feel that shit. You could hear it. You know who blew up the Murrah building? They killed like 170 or so people and a whole bunch of fucking babies and shit they were pulling from the rubble because there was a goddamn daycare inside the building. Guess who blew that fucking building up? It was a far right-wing extremist. A white man by the name of Timothy motherfucking McVeigh. That's who blew that shit up. And killed a bunch of people, Oklahomans. Fucking George Bush. Oh, Iraq, man, they've got fucking weapons of mass destruction. We gotta go to war, weapons of mass destruction. Nothing but fucking caskets draped in flags coming home. Our friends, our family members getting fucking injured. It's always the goddamn working class individuals who are patriotic, that care about this country, and they get sold a fucking bill of goods to go overseas. We dealt with that shit for 10 motherfucking years. We dealt for that shit. We dealt with that shit. And then Obama came along, right? And we started using more drone warfare and shit like that. But it's always the fucking left, right? It's always the Democrats that are so goddamn violent, right? What about the J6ers? What about January 6th? Were those leftists that fucking stormed the Capitol? No! They were a bunch of fucking white supremacist, Christian nationalist fucking Nazis who took over the goddamn Capitol and killed 5 police officers over the next few days. Like 5 different police officers died from that shit.
One like had a stroke or a heart attack or some shit, and then several of them committed suicide from that fucking event. But oh, it's the left, and then your fucking president, Trump, pardoned these motherfuckers that were directly responsible for these police officers dying. But back to blue, baby, right? Yeah. Huh. Fucking violence. Dude, who are the first ones fucking driving around in their Jeeps with their goddamn "Don't tread on me" flags and their fucking 1770 fucking 6 tattoos and their goddamn Molon Labe come and take it fucking bullshit? Don't tread on me. They're fucking treading on you. Your party is covering up the Epstein files, where a whole bunch of really powerful, evil, dark, nasty motherfuckers like raped children to death. And it's all fucking in there, but y'all are like, oh, show us the proof, show us the proof. We need to see the proof. Oh, come on, libtard, show us the proof. How about this? Release the goddamn unredacted files. The proof is in the redactions, you stupid motherfuckers. But by God, as long as that doesn't get there, then you guys just constantly make excuses and constantly move the fucking goalpost. Because you're racist, you're fucking homophobic, you're entitled, you're soft as goddamn Charmin tissue paper. And you guys are a bunch of fucking backwoods like fucking turkey neck fat white motherfuckers. By God, the South will rise again. Fuck y'all, motherfuckers. But I'm the fucking violent one. Because I think, you know what? We should let gay people get married and do their thing and live a happy life. And I don't even though I do agree with them being able to do that, it doesn't fucking matter because you guys think it's like an infringement on your rights that you have to see two people that love each other. You fucking weirdos. All these trans people, blah, blah, blah. You probably never even met a trans person in real life. And if you fucking did, you probably don't even know about it. That's how fucking stupid y'all are. Y'all are like, oh, go touch grass, Jay. You're fucking, you're doing all this stuff and you're saying way too much. Fuck y'all, man. Where's y'all's balls at, dude? Ain't nobody in this fucking world got no balls anymore, and that's the problem. Y'all's all a bunch of scared little fucking pussies who don't want to stand up. The only people y'all on the right want to fucking fight is a bunch of what y'all call blue-haired fucking libtards that have whatever, septum piercings or whatever. You think that's all the left is? Motherfucker, I got them too. I ain't fucking afraid of y'all motherfuckers. That's who the fuck y'all are. You don't even follow Jesus. If Jesus was here today, you'd fucking deport his ass. That's what you would do. So let me tell you something. Before you start talking about fucking violent left extremists and the White House putting out that whole new statement that anti-fascists are now considered a fucking terrorist group. Well, how's this? Fuck the government. Fuck all y'all pedophile motherfucking protecting people that are watching this from the government. I don't give a fuck. Outlaw motherfucker till the day I die because I don't stand with a bunch of pedophile protecting motherfuckers. Fuck you guys. Fucking... I hope your day's fucking coming. Your days are fucking numbered. When this house flips, you guys are going to start to see a bunch of shit coming out, and y'all motherfuckers are going to deny that too and call it a Democratic hoax, just like your fucking God did. You know, the one that y'all built fucking golden statues to down there in Mar-a-Lago, you weird fucks. Fuck you guys.
people are being told that their genealogy does not link them or their families to any of the Indian ancestry.
Keep your eye on the issue here. The issue is that the individuals in these groups do not have Abenaki ancestry. They have great stories. Who determines that? Because I've actually actually did the genealogies of every single family that they claim in their own documentation. That's it. That's the story. You had a flawed process that recognized people who have no Abenaki ancestry, and now you have individuals who are upset because of that, because there's a possibility that that truth will come out. But that was never part of the process. I have all of the documents. You can access them yourself. This is a serious problem that you've engaged in.
And just like that, the tides are turning quick.
These people.
I love when the black community says, let's boycott Asian businesses. Please do. We'll get rid of the Chinese takeout.
Hey Grizzlies, happy Friday. Story time. So I'm having a conversation with somebody the other day that I don't know is MAGA. Then it comes out that this person is MAGA. And after I put up the visible barrier, we continued talking for a few minutes. And one of the questions she asked me is, because I told her obviously that I was not MAGA, why is it that everybody on the left thinks that MAGA people are all stupid? Don't worry, I was happy to oblige. And in this video, I'm going to attempt to summarize what I said to her because it almost looked like a light was going on. So for any MAGA watching, this is me politely telling you why the rest of us feel that your movement collectively lacks intelligence. And since I know you MAGAs can be a little hypersensitive, and before you start trolling in my comments, I'm not saying that everybody without a degree is stupid. I'm not saying that every conservative or rural person is stupid. I'm not. I live in the South. I know that those things are not true. I'm explaining why we, the collective left of center, think that your movement lacks critical thinking skills. Because this is not about credentials, the way that you guys like to say, liberal elitists. It's not about credentials. It's about your behavior. And stick around because you're probably going to hear a few things that you've never actually thought through. Nobody likes the word stupid, but stupid means, basically it means that you have an inability to take obvious facts and assimilate information to make proper decisions. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with here. Probably gotta be one of the single biggest reasons that people think that MAGA is stupid. Because MAGA people don't argue, they repeat catchphrases. We're gonna get the low-hanging fruit out of the way at first. Ask them, hey, so how did Trump materially improve your life? They go, TDS. If you say, well, hey, how can Trump run for a second term if the Constitution clearly says that you can only be certified president twice? They say Trump lives in your head rent free. You ask them, can you explain how it is that you're pro-family yet you vote against healthcare, food, all of those things for families? They say Trump is your daddy. That's not a political argument. That's the pattern. They never come back with facts, history, law, logic, nothing. They just repeat something that they heard from a guy wearing wraparound sunglasses on the internet. That's why people think that MAGA is stupid. That's point one. Not because we disagree with what you're saying, but because you lack the ability to explain why you feel the way that you do beyond the slogans that you quote, which are literally we're so tired of them. They're so exhausting. Number two, MAGA always moves the goalpost just to make room for daddy. Intelligent, ethical people, they have lines. They have certain things that they stand on. MAGA doesn't have that. They have one principle: protect daddy. Think about it. If Obama had 5 kids by 3 different women, cheated on all of his wives, said he could grab women by the sold sneakers and merch and all the rest of that, y'all would be speaking in tongues on the freaking White House lawn. But if Trump does it, it's strategy. If we remind you that this man is literally the Antichrist, you say, well, he's not a pastor and God uses imperfect people. No, baby, that's not faith and it's not patriotism. It's a personality called wrapped in merch. Point 3, and this one literally makes me, please explain it to me if you're MAGA. MAGA politicians tell you guys that education is the devil and that you should marry trad wives, all while they tell you that college is indoctrination. MAGA tells young women that their highest calling is to become trad wives and mommies with a sourdough starter and no paycheck. To a man who thinks babysitting is watching his own children. Think about it. MAGA politicians tell their voters to distrust higher education, professional women, and experts. But look at the people selling the message. They're all educated. Their spouses are all educated. Their daughters go to college. Their wives work. Their donors, judges, lawyers all have degrees. Almost all of Congress has a college degree. So they want education for their children, obedience for yours. Ambitious wives for themselves, trad wives for yours. And when
of global trade that would typically go through the Red Sea that is effectively taken offline overnight. Now, final couple of things that I have here for you guys. Again, the attacks on desalination plants continuing after the US attacked an Iranian desalination plant, cutting off water for thousands and thousands of people. So there was another Iranian attack on a Kuwaiti power generation and water desalination plant on Sunday yesterday, marking the third consecutive day that Kuwait has reported strikes on power and water infrastructure. This is why it's dangerous for the U.S. to be engaging in these kinds of bombing campaigns against Iran, because you look at charts like this. Iran is very, little reliance on the desalination plants.
In Supremacy World War III, you can take over the planet, but only with the right strategy. Test yours and download for free today.
You have a brilliant idea. Now you just need to express it. Your actual app, your pitch deck, and how it lives in the world.
Stay on this video and tell you how Trump is in trouble again. It's over. They got him. Here's the thing. It gets worse and worse day by day for him. Not for him. Okay? Be very clear what I'm about to break down. I'm going to break down 3 things to you that clearly point out he's in trouble. He's on his way to a couple of places, depending on where his health goes. So let's go. The first thing, you remember that explosive diarrhea? Turns out Taylor Firearms gave money to Trump in his super PAC. And Taylor Firearms is the one accused of the explosive diarrhea lettuce. So basically, it was a big white-owned company that supplied lettuce to the Mexican through Mexico and used Mexicans, but it's owned by a big Trumper who supported Trump and even had Trump people in their company. It's some serious corruption, because one moment they're saying the FDA has cleared us, and next minute they're saying they're not. Corruption, motherfuckers. It's going to point to something big. But before I get to the something big, let's take a little segue into that and talk about how all the doctors are out there saying something's wrong with Trump. Health-wise, it's not looking good. He has kidney failure. He's dealing with a whole bunch of heart issues. He's dealing with dementia. He's having an ongoing problem. He has bowel problems. They are saying the wildest shit across social media. Doctors, not me. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a journalist. And they're saying he could be on his way at any moment. Now, the reason I say that is because I've said all through the summer, Trump could be dead by August 1st. But here's the thing. I don't want him to die. And you don't neither. You want this sumbitch to bleed out. Because understand, even with him gone, we still got JD bitch-ass Vance. No couch is safe, bitch-ass Vance. And Vance, though a different president, he's got the same vibration. And he's slicker. He is much slicker than this motherfucker. He's gonna be very under the table. The only good news is that MAGA loses half their base if he dies of natural causes. I don't want anything to happen to anybody in general as far as assassination and none of that shit. But if Trump dies of natural causes, you're gonna have a hard time with his MAGA base. But I want to tell you something. The reason I'm a bit excited about him living, and bleed out in the comments. You already know I talk about that. Bleed out. I want him to bleed out because the more he's around, he pulls himself, the administration, and the party down. Yes, I'll say it again. The more he's around, the more he pulls himself, the administration, and the party down. And makes us even bigger for that blue wave and show up. I want him around to get people upset enough to show up in November so we can have a Democratic majority in the House and the Senate. Fuck that oh, we won because he's dead, because it ain't happening. But I want to connect all of this shit up to what I said in the beginning. He's in trouble. They got him. This Taylor Farms thing reeks of corruption. I told you I had 3 things to say. I talked about Taylor Farms, diarrhea. I had to say it. And I told, you know, the story. I ain't touch a salad, by the way, y'all. I used to have this salad here in Chicago from Ed DeBevick's, an avocado salad, season it up with no dressing or nothing, eating healthy for months. Soon as they said that shit, it's not that I'm not eating healthy, but I ain't fucking with no salad. I boil my vegetables. Now I got me some broccoli and some spinach. I ain't fucking with So the second one I said he's dying. The doctors on social media are saying this. I ain't saying it. I ain't a doctor. But I think that based on the doctors of social media, and I'm listening to what they're saying and what he's doing, how he's following through, he could be gone by August 1st. If I'm wrong in my prediction, which I have been predicting for the last 2 months, I would gladly do a video and say it. And quite frankly, I'm telling you right now, I hope I'm wrong. Because the more he's around, he pulls himself, the administration, and the party down. So that brings me to number 3, which is the deadly part. More corruption opens up more investigation. Oh, I wonder who could investigate him. I don't know. Maybe the intelligence community? Well, why would they want to investigate him, Darren? Because, well, why would he want to fire them immediately inside of his first week of his administration, the second term? Oh, I know why. Maybe because they know the yada yada corruption he's doing. And therefore, since he knows the corruption, all right, he ends up getting addicted to trying to get rid of people who can catch him lying because he suffers from diabetes. All right? That's why he's Persian Oriental. He lies like a rug. Motherfucker, that motherfucker.
The pressure is dropping and it feels amazing. Then the game opens a new work area. Great. Another pile, another...
Now, all of this shit going on, okay? This happening to him is a preface to what is going to happen to him. Long we show our ass up in November, goddamn, we gonna get that ass. He is done. We got him. Taylor Brands is fucked. But here's the other part of that. They're tied in with Trump. They're tied into corruption with the FDA, which is tied into Trump. Anything that's tied into corruption with Trump, he's fucked. The intelligence community has been feeding both the media and by the way, I wouldn't be surprised if they fed that lead that Taylor Brands gave money to the PACs. I'm sure that would be one of the leads on the low. And they're feeding the subcommittees of the Democratic parties who are set up already to come after him as of January 3rd. It's on, motherfucker. It's on. And I want you to understand something. That if we watch this process, we keep him around, he's going to bring them down. Just like he did with his investors with almost $4 billion in his meme coin, but yet he made $600 million in front of the public, but he got a whole bunch of billions. Over 15 billion in private, because when they invest in that meme coin, he loans from that meme coin. And that meme coin loan gets paid through his cash flow from his businesses. And that meme coin money he uses either to live off of, which he probably has tons of money to do that with because he has tons of accounts. From what I understand, overseas, he got about 100 plus accounts all over the place. And now what he's doing with the meme coin money he loaned off of, he can do arbitrage, which is what wealthy people do anyway. People who have money, what they do is they loan against their assets. They keep the assets in debt. It's not about getting out of debt unless you have consumer debt. But if you have business debt, you use the debt from that building, for instance, or that business forever, and then you arbitrage in a way where you get the lowest possible rate on the loan so you can get the highest possible return on an investment. So he could loan it out at 3 and get it out at 6 or 8 or something that's going to give him more return than just keeping it right there in that asset, because that asset ain't getting them paid. The asset's getting them paid through the cash flow, but the assets is the extra value of that asset he can use to leverage to get either more streams of revenue or a higher return on his money. And that's what he's doing secretly with Bitcoin. But he's not getting away with it. That's why I'm smiling all through this. Because Bitcoin has what's called blockchain, and blockchain is public. So they can find your shit. Now, what they may find is a bunch of shell companies, but something leads to something. I'm telling you, it's happening, baby. It's going down. It's going down. I mean, you know, I know it's bad enough he always made us say, oh, shit. Now you can think about Taylor Brands, Taylor Farms, Taylor whatever, you know, and go, oh, shit. Oh my God. Oh my God. He is tied into so much shit. They got him. They got him. It's just a matter of time. Show your ass up in November. Put it in the comments. Show up in November. Watch my last 7. The 10 videos, you know the deal. If you're new here, I certainly hope I've earned you a subscription, and you know the deal. And thank you very much, everybody who supported me so much. I really appreciate it.
Download Raid now, claim Gaiath, the Truth Shield for free, and take control of the fight.
We are reporting on Trump's crash. The approval rating now cratering to 33%, an abysmal second-term low. Longtime allies see that the ship is sinking. Let's start right here. Trump campaign vet Bannon admitting the GOP is facing these defeats. Tucker Carlson has upended the White House's whole week with his new defection.
Defeat after defeat. Now it's a crushing. Now they turned over the whole frickin' state to him. It'll take us a decade to dig out of this.
I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own consciences. We'll be tormented by it for a long time.
A long time of torment. I have more on both of those individuals coming up, but I start there because the defections don't come in a vacuum. They reflect an American electorate that is currently done with Trump and what he's doing in his second term. The extremism, the economic failure, the rampant lying, which some people on the right have dismissed when it was directed towards other people or other issues, but now they view it as insult on top of injury, in this case, economic and foreign policy injury. There's a revolt afoot over Trump's failed economy, over his choice to impose this effective war tax on gas. Just 33% of Americans approve of this Trump economy now. And I'm going to tell you something else. Some people may not like it, but one of those elite DC narratives has now been proven wrong again when you look at this Trump crash, because we have heard a lot of Republican apologists, especially the elite kind of bubbled type of them in Washington, but also a lot of DC media insiders talk about how Trump has this resilient base of support. They talk about it like it's some sort of law of physics, like it can't change and it's special to him. And in many cases, that has actually served as a practical matter to exaggerate and hype how popular Trump is or how much you have to deal with him. He is president. No one's saying you can ignore the entire presidency for a term, but whether you think of him as a popular president who has leverage or a lame duck who's fading, that's a big difference. And that narrative that the Republican Party will just stand by him no matter what, or as he likes to say, he could murder on Fifth Avenue and get away with it, that's ending too. Now a sizable third, 1/3 of Republican voters disapprove of Trump. After the months of inflation, the gas spike, this new war, the rolling Epstein secrecy and Epstein debacle that stretched from late last year into the beginning of this year, and new reports say that Trump aides are sugarcoating the war problems. They're afraid to tell him the truth, that that's part of the war policy planning problem right now. And we have reporting on that. We can get into that. But that I want to point out tonight is a very stark and public contrast to Tucker Carlson and these other MAGA voices who aren't just telling Trump the bad news, not perhaps in private, they have access to him and his aides and saying, hey, this isn't working, this economy's bad, this is what people are mad about. No, they're going beyond that. They're doing it in public, as we've just seen. And that's driving the very media coverage that Trump cares about so much. The combined polling crash, the defections, the Iran troubles, all of this now has the right-leaning Drudge Report website likening Trump to Jimmy Carter, whose term fell apart over a gas crisis and high prices, and basically getting shown up by Iran, what Drudge calls war confusion. You know, Carter was a rare incumbent who lost after his first term, like Trump. Now, the second term of Trump was supposed to redeem him as a kind of a leader or maybe a more person than his early foibles. And yet here he is tonight, according to Drudge and a lot of other indicators, saddled with Carter problems of his own making and Carter-level polling. And Carter failures on policy, from the economy to Iran. History does not repeat itself, but it rhymes, Mark Twain observed. Well, when it comes to Jimmy Carter, these are some rhymes most Americans would rather do without. Meanwhile, the Republican bid to try to reshape future elections in Virginia just failed. And here's a little more from what I showed you a preview of, the Steve Bannon rant as he took in that news today, going at Republicans.
And I also have a message tonight for the people of Greenland. The USA will be taking over Greenland one way or the other.
Oh, wait, what did he...
Defeat after defeat. Now it's a crushing. Now they turned over the whole frickin' state to him. It'll take us a decade to dig out of this. You damn right you're going to lose the Senate because you've given nothing for people to work for. And right now, folks, take your number 2 pencil out and write this down. We ain't going to be in power.
You're going to lose the Senate. We ain't going to be in power. Get your number 2 pencil for those who don't just type notes on your own iPhone. Now, what does Steve Bannon and Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones all have in common? Remember what they do now. They have their own dedicated audiences online, and they apparently would rather meet those audiences where they are, with at a minimum Trump skepticism, if not outright Trump opposition. They'd rather do that now than wait around and look like out-of-touch MAGA elite apologists when this November reckoning comes. I'm not telling you what's going to happen in the November midterms. I don't actually do that. I'm telling you, though, what they appear to think is going to happen. And that's why this is not just about anyone's opinion or voice. It includes that, but also includes what they're bracing for. Now, the anger against Trump around the nation is already reaching Capitol Hill long before any midterm votes are cast. Today, 5 different Trump cabinet officials, you see across the board here, there is some work that sometimes gets done in Congress, 5 different officials showing up and facing some members of Congress who appear to channel the concerns of this angry anti-Trump public.
How fast will the price of gasoline come down?
Again, that is path dependent on when the war and the conflict end.
7 million people losing their health insurance because of the Trump administration actions. That's not debatable.
There's nobody who is legally enrolled in Medicaid who is losing coverage.
That is just not true.
Will you guarantee that gas will go back to $3 again before the end of the year?
No one can offer guarantees about the future.
No, they can't. And on it went like that. Now, Americans blame Trump for the higher gas prices. They can see that direct result from starting the war. Financial outlets have covered the Trump tax for weeks. Here's one headline. This is from a couple weeks ago. We picked that on purpose to note how this has been the state of play. We've noted that it's like a war tax on this very program. Today, Senate Democrats are hammering this point with the cumulative numbers. If you add up the tab, all in, American families have paid $16 billion more. That's not $16 billion. That's $16 billion extra. That's the scale of the tax in a very short period of time because of Trump's war. It's the economy, stupid. Or it's the stupid war hurting the economy, or however you put it. As you're about to see, people are upset with Trump's war economy.
What would you grade the economy right now? Definitely a D. Is there an F up there?
I just really don't think I have faith in this administration.
It's not the greatest economy in the history of our country. It's not blowing out of the water.
Struggling. People are struggling.
The term right now, it sucks. There's hope, but it's not for everybody. It's difficult.
With him, he doesn't have no plan. Everything just keeps going up and up.
He's gaslighting us or delusional. I don't know what it is.
Well, it's not great and not our best time as a country.
You know exactly what will take your business to the next level. Websites, apps, newsletters, slides, and animated videos to stand out. So you hire consultants to design them. 13 days later, not what you wanted. You ask an AI chatbot instead, and it replies with,
Yeah, the gas is expensive. Gaslighting people about the gas being expensive doesn't work. And those are folks just filling up the tank and going about their day. They're not professional politicians. That's why we do these reported interviews. Sometimes you just check in. It anecdotally overlaps with the polling I showed you. Why am I mentioning that as the top story tonight in concert with these other developments? Because when you see Trump backers like Tucker Carlson jump ship after so many years of support, and remember, Tucker broke the journalistic rules and limits from his former outlet employers like Fox and CNN to go directly campaign for Trump. He did it at the convention. And he did it again in the home stretch at that controversial MSG rally in New York. So when you see him flip now, that was not that long ago, and you see people revolting before the midterms, and you see the economy doing what it's doing, it is pretty clear that Tucker Carlson, who once privately confided in someone that he hated Trump, a text I mentioned this week that came out in a lawsuit, then went back to supporting Trump, and then went back. He is a self-fact check. He is a liar. I can only say that rarely when we have the proof. But when you have someone's private text like a diary and them contradicting themselves, you can actually document how he lied to cozy up to Trump when he was up. And now he's lying about why he's ditching Trump when he's out. But the big political point is he's out. Tucker and these other folks, they're not following some sort of long, clear ideological plan where, oh, if you do this on the war, that's going to break it. No. They are following their own audience and the public and trying to get ahead of what is already the lowest approval of Trump's second term. Trump's aides may have him high on his own supply. Top MAGA leaders have taken a different route. They are planning their own futures as a future without Trump. And that makes you wonder, if it's this bad now, how bad do they think it's going to get for Trump and Republicans?
Bro, the level just started and we're already getting overrun. I gotta take these guys out and build this crossbow tower as fast as possible. I don't even think I have a choice. Quickly, quickly, quickly. Ooh, that was close, but that should take care of things. Wait.
We are 130 days away from the midterm elections, and there's a moment in every relationship where the people who have been covering for you stop covering for you. Not because they had a change of heart, but because the math changed. And we may be at that moment. Start with this. New inflation numbers came out today. 4.1%. These are May numbers, meaning they don't actually capture June's gas prices, which the Iran war pushed yet higher. So the number next month, a month from today, may be worse. Except you're looking at the screen that says 4.1%. You know what? You know how many people need to know that? Zero. No one needs to know the inflation rate because you feel it every time you fill up your tank, you buy groceries, or you pay your rent. That's what is going to move voters in November. And the party responsible right now is the Republican Party because they control everything. And against that backdrop, what is Trump focused on? Not prices, not the economy, a voter suppression bill. But I just put that aside for a second. Before I get to the voter suppression bill, understand what is happening to and within the Republican Party right now, because it's not just one thing. It's a pattern. Just within this last week, Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene both renounced the Republican Party, citing the Iran war as a betrayal of America first. Populist podcasters who helped build the MAGA media machine, Theo Vaughn, Tim Dillon, Candace Owens, they've all turned fiercely critical of the administration. And then there's Epstein. 4 Republicans in the House called themselves the Bravehearts. They forced the release of the Epstein files that Trump didn't want released, files that the American public had been promised. Of those 4, only one will return to Congress. On the left, Thomas Massie, he lost the most expensive House primary in American history. Over $34 million spent against him. Marjorie Taylor Greene resigned. Nancy Mace lost her governor's race after Trump withheld his endorsement of her. Lauren Boebert is the only one likely to remain in Congress next year. That's the context for tonight. A president using the full force of his political machine to punish members of his own party who ask inconvenient questions.
Satan, please take this man to the furnace. Satan, please take this swollen piece of Epstein rapist human shit to the furnace. ASAP. Thank you, Satan. Dude, that's my new chant. It's my new chakra opening chant. Say Dude, look at this though. Dude, what the dude. Like, I'm sorry. Call me old-fashioned, but I don't think 21-year-old young people should be sitting in a room listening to a bunch of religious people talk about Charlie Kirk's chanting USA. These guys are like, you know, getting the Supreme Court to defend their right to do cocaine off the Bible, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what's coming with these guys. And the Trump admin and Harmeet Dillon, they're going to go to court and be like, but Your Honor, if I snort cocaine off a Bible, it's religious freedom, sir. So I'm allowed to pour my cocaine out on the Bible and snort it. That's religious freedom. All right? I will be going home now. Thank you. My daddy's fucking house counsel will be finishing up this case. I've got a Bible to go study, if you know what I mean. Ah, right. Dude. Like, seriously. We are f***ed, bro.
Big boom. Don't allow anybody to... What? This is a moment in history!
Sometimes I look at my videos and think people don't know what's behind the screen. I'm just a small creator recording everything on a cracked phone with...
What? Don't...
Dude, look at this, though.
While the economy worsens and the party he's supposed to be leading heads into the most consequential midterm of his presidency without a single kitchen table win to show for it. Republicans desperately needed something to take home to voters before November. And Congress actually built it. It was called the 21st Century Road to Housing Act. It's the most comprehensive housing legislation in decades. It would increase the supply of homes, bring down the costs,
Hunt down your opponents in Raid Shadow Legends. Use this promo code to get the legendary Cheshire Cat for free.
What I saw, guys, was this. Hoodlum said, "This is getting curiouser and curiouser. I'm not buying it anymore." Dude. And this is basically like the cognitive dissonance that is being perpetrated by these guys, where something is rotten in Denmark, because this is a recurring, situation. Obviously, this is a fake, but again, they're memeing because it is becoming so memeable. This is like the second proof of life for Mitch. Now, dude, there's no way, right? I mean, look at this. Look at that. Is this real? Did the McConnell team really release this? Because there is no way that is Mitch McConnell, guys. There's not a chance that this is Mitch McConnell. Okay? Not even remotely. Like, look at him. He looks like 60 years younger. This is Mitch McConnell with if he got his head stretched out, right? Like one of those fucking funhouse mirrors. And he's got Laura Loomer's upper lip. Hi, I'm Mitch McConnell. Hey, if this is him, why isn't he at work? He looks like he could do handsprings. This guy, I want to find this rehabilitation center, bro. He must have gotten some of that good Pete Hegseth testosterone. Bro, that shit reversed his aging like 60 years. Let's look at some of these details, guys. Before we even break into this, I guess the first thing that seems bizarre to me is that the room number is on a plate on the inside of the room. Like, right? You got hand sanitizer there, and a jug by the door. But look at the room numbers. It says room 412. On the inside of the room is a placard. That's real fucking strange, isn't it? These room numbers are pretty strange. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of shit here that's weird. But yeah, this room placard is bizarre. He's supposed to be in a rehab facility, for starters, not in a hospital. But guys, let me show you what Mitch looked like in October. This is him 8 months ago. Now watch him. Watch him, dude.
My name is Stella. I want to ask, do you support ICE taking working people off the streets and kidnapping them?
Dude. Homie is fucking cooked, bro. You see him like lumbering, like I think he said dude, or did he say nudes? Do you want some nudes? Right? I mean, he's lumbering around like he's auditioning for a zombie movie, guys.
I want to ask, do you support ICE taking working people off the streets and kidnapping them?
Dude, wow. Nude. Dude, look at him. It's like he's a prom date. We're supposed to believe that this is the same guy. Man, I'm telling you, if Mitch McConnell sends me a nude, dude, I'm getting off this planet, bro. He's dead. Dude, this is not him, guys. This is not Mitch McConnell. Look at his mouth. This is not Mitch McConnell. I don't know who the hell this photo is, but this guy is not Mitch McConnell. There's no way. Andy Bashir needs to get in that rehab facility. We need to break in there. This is another thing that's interesting, guys, is if you look at the chart, okay? The chart is just papers on a clipboard. I mean, most places, it is electronic. They have a little monitor and a cart. Even with the rehab center, do we think they would have like Mitch McConnell, one of the top senators, a very high government official? Do you think you would have any of his shit be on paper? Like, wouldn't his charting, which is almost like a matter of national security, why would they have it on paper where somebody could walk in his room and steal his medical records? Like, there's no way, okay? There's just no way. That to me seems really, really strange that they would have anything for Mitch on a paper chart. I'm not seeing that. Why are there multiple hand sanitizer dispensers? Why is one position where it is? And in particular, one of the things I wonder is why is there like one in a bottle and then like these are, there's fucking two on the wall and one's over here. There's two by the door, one on each side of the door. I don't know. It's a little bizarre. See, multiple people are releasing this photo, but like, I don't even know. Now that I'm trying to find this, I'm not finding other copies of this. There's some shit going on here. Where do we have that this is an official photo release? Because it is going around the internet. See, what's bothering me about this is people are talking about his office releasing a new photo, but I'm not seeing his office.
In Conflict of Nations, you can build an army, battle other players, create alliances, and even drop a nuke. Just tap below and download now.
Like, actually announcing this. Where did they get this new photo from? I mean, we know a lot of people are fucking liars. So yeah, Hindustan Times is the only people reporting on this photo. But they're reporting on it from somebody's tweet. Obviously, something being in Hindustan Times is a long way from it being like an actual confirmed reality. So, I mean, it looks like this is a fake photo. See, this fucking pisses me off, though. Okay? Because people are... People are parroting this shit on the internet like it's real. I fucking hate these accounts that do this shit. They're usually these accounts too, guys. That where they follow like as many people as they have followers, which means everyone who follows them, they like follow back. And they almost always are just like putting shit out there that is fake. Everybody was posting that this is a new photo released by his office, but we're not actually finding it from any credible news source, which is the issue. But some shit is rotten with these guys. Okay? This shit is, you know, smells like a 13-day-old corpse is what it smells like, right? Dude, look at that. Dude, it's got a cardboard Mitch with fucking dude, so amazing. I love how her hand disappears behind the pillow too. Yes. Oh shit, dude. And he's got his little fucking newspaper. Oh, that's good. Dude, oh, this one's good. There it is. There's the new photo. Oh, look at that. Dude, there it is. That's the most believable McConnell photo I've seen. The reason why this is even a conspiracy theory is because A, they didn't do anything. They didn't say anything for over a month. Okay? They did not say anything. Nothing. No, I mean, he codes, it's a cardiac call, and then mute. Just, where's Mitch? Who knows? Silence from his staff. Release a statement. Mitch suffered a fall. Mitch is okay. He's got pneumonia, right? Mitch is, you know what I'm saying? Here's Mitch. We film him. Hey guys, I got pneumonia. I'm okay. All right, I'm going to a rehab facility. I'll be out of contact for a month. Right? I'm going to hunker down and focus on getting better. Thank you. I don't want you guys to worry, but I'm good. None of that has taken place. Okay? None of that has taken place. Dude, if Biden disappeared for a weekend, people would like, you know, these guys thought Biden had a body double. Right? So there was no statement, nothing from his office for a month. And then the only time that first picture comes out is after Andy Bashir goes on national TV and says, look, I need proof of life.
Is the Mitch McConnell photo of him in the hospital real or fake?
Well, I think it's real. I don't understand why anyone would think otherwise. And I'm taking him at his word. I'm taking him at the words that John Thune and John Barrasso, who both talked to him. So I'm almost kind of insulted, you would ask.
But you said, I think it's real. You can't even say whether or not it's definitively real or not.
I don't understand why this is an issue. I think this is insulting to me. It's insulting to Mitch McConnell.
It's not meant to be insulting.
But it is. I don't care what you mean. It's insulting that you didn't understand my answer, that I think it's real. I didn't take the picture, so how would I know? So let's go back to the real issue.
Because this isn't something that's like conspiracy. I mean, it is somewhat of a conspiracy, but it's a mainstream discussion that people are saying, I can't, even Republicans. I just talked to Rick Scott, and he's telling me, well, listen, I don't know. He can't give a definitive answer. He says none of his colleagues are talking to McConnell.
This is a conspiracy theory. Mitch McConnell has been a great senator up here for America. I think he deserves a little bit more respect than this.
Dude, if he deserves respect, Like, why doesn't he fucking call somebody? Call in on a fucking show. Dude, this guy looks uncomfortable, bro. Right? I'm insulted that you're insulted, that I'm insulted, that Mitch is probably dead. And I'm insulted that you're acting as dumb as you are, Senator. You fucking dunce. Dude, where is Roger Marshall from, dude? What state is this idiot from? Kansas, of course. Of course he is, bro. Dude, you hillbilly. Everything about this has been very bizarre, guys. We know he's not okay. We don't know if he's dead. We don't know if he's on a ventilator. But I know for a fact that he is not like talking to a rehabilitation therapist and like getting better. We are never going to see Mitch McConnell stroll up and talk in front of us. I guarantee it. If that were to happen, dude, I would seriously be shocked. I'm like 99% certain that he's either dead or he's incapacitated. One of the two. He's dead or brain dead. But he is definitely not coming back. He is definitely not rehabbing. This image from TMZ, that is just such a weird image. It's 95 degrees in DC, and she's walking around with a trench on. Like, what are we doing, man? That is so bizarre, guys. That is just so bizarre. Hiding her face, too, yes. That is it. None of it adds up. Yo, political punk here. I know, it's killing me. Seriously, guys, if you like what we do around here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and turn those noties on. And I wouldn't be anywhere without the members. So if you want to hit the join button, we really appreciate that too. Thank you so much, guys. It's getting crazy out there, and I'm just really glad to not be going through this alone. All right? All right, keep your chin up. Let's go, boss. All right, fuck you. Bye-bye.
He is completely